Hello, life editors! Hey there! Welcome to our planning pajama party. Woohoo! I am so thrilled to be with you here tonight. This is going to be amazing. As you can see, I am all dolled up for the occasion. I got my ribbons in my hair, got my pajamas on. Leave a comment, let me know what kind of pajamas you are wearing tonight. So mine are pink, as you can see, and they've got pink and yellow candy canes on them because I will tell you this, it's still Christmas here. It is still Christmas in my house. I have not put away the tree yet. I still have all my Christmas decorations up, and I'm still wearing my Christmas PJs. Let's see. Hey, Celeste! I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. So thank you so much for being here for our pajama party. So a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the nitty-gritties of planning tonight. If you guys are watching on Facebook or YouTube, I want you to click the StreamYard link that's in the description. So there's a little link in the description that says, I'm going live on StreamYard. And that is so I can see your beautiful faces and your names. I can't see them if you don't click the StreamYard link. So you just got to give StreamYard permission to see your face and your name. Oh, yeah, people coming in. Caroline, hi, Sage. Pajamas are very old, but still comfy. Okay, so most of my pajamas are very, very old, and they are not appropriate to be on video. But I decided I'm going to wear cute pajamas for our planning party. So yeah. Leave a comment and let me know. Are most of your pajamas like old and ratty, but super, super comfy? Or are they like fancy and silky and like appropriate to be seen? I would love to know. Oh, Celeste, you got it right. Mimosa PJs. Very, very nice. So I also want to hear, what is everyone drinking tonight? So I've got my drink right here. This is not wine. I'm not gulping down wine. I don't know. Maybe I need to, but I don't drink. So this is actually, it's very, very good. I don't know the brand name of it, but it is apple, cranberry, pomegranate, and it's sparkling. Apple, cranberry, pomegranate. And as you can see, it's still Christmas here. I still have my Christmas cups out. Christmas PJs, Christmas drink. Christmas tree is up. I can't show you my Christmas tree, but it is still up. Believe me. Oh, Sarah. Hey, Sarah. I'm in regular clothes, but I have my wine. Very good. Very important. I want you to be comfy, cozy, excited to be planning tonight. So leave a comment. Let me know, like, what are you drinking? Do you have a snack? Do you have like a fun planning snack? I know sometimes I like to get a really, really good cup of tea. My favorite is jasmine green tea. And then I like to curl up on the couch with my planner and just kind of spend the whole afternoon planning. I might put on some ambient noise or some kind of like background music, but I don't usually listen to music that has words in it when I'm like writing because like my brain can't do both things at once. But yeah, let me know what you're drinking. Let me know if you have any snacks. Are you still eating Christmas cookies? Because I'm still eating Christmas cookies. and let me know how long the holidays go for you. Okay, I think we are just about ready to get started. We're a few minutes in. So for those of you who are joining us or if you're watching the replay, this is our planning pajama party. And what we're going to do tonight is say goodbye to 2020. See ya. You're out of here. We are done with you, 2020. We're going to say goodbye, thank you, next to 2020. And we are going to, be grateful for some of the good things that did happen this year because there are some. We're going to go over that. And then we're going to talk about goal planning and coming up with goals for 2021. Because even though this year might not have gone how you wanted it to go, and we don't know what's going to happen next year, there is still value in making plans. So we're going to talk about the value of planning and different ways that you can plan based on your personality, based on how much mental capacity you have for planning. I know. I have a really, really easy planning trick for some of you who can't even think about coming up with goals right now. Sometimes I'm right there with you. And we're also going to talk about maybe some of the mistakes or some of the slip-ups that we make when we're trying to plan. And that might have messed us up in the past where we came up with these great goals. We had all these project plans, but for whatever reason, something happened and we weren't able to stick with them. So we're going to talk about those and how you can make better strategies and better choices going forward. So right now, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. You can leave a comment below and I will see it as long as you click the StreamYard link in the description. I'll see your beautiful smiling faces. And you are totally open to commenting as we go along. And at the very end, depending on how long this goes, I was thinking maybe we're going to be doing 90 minutes, but we'll see. We might go longer than that. We'll see how long it goes. I'll have it open for a Q&A too, so that you can ask me any questions that you might have about planning or anything about life editing too. And if you are watching this replay, got you covered. Go ahead and leave a comment underneath the video if you're watching the replay, because I'm going to come back and answer your comments and questions. And I'm going to be checking in with you guys as we go into the new year. So totally okay if you're not watching the live version of the Planning Pajama Party. Okay, so I think that's all the housekeeping stuff I got going on. One final thing, let me put up my little notice here. My Edit My Life Planner is out. I'm so excited about this. For those of you who are counting, it's been 2 years since I've created a new planner. And I just launched this one this month, the Edit My Life Planner. And I put the link right here where you can go and grab your copy. So this is a planner and video course bundle. It's like a mini course bundle. So there's a 5-day mini course, video course that you can go through that explains my whole goal setting process, why I do 12-week goals. It's a crash course in life editing, and it really walks you through how to make a proper project plan for your next 12 weeks. Plus, you also get the daily planner and weekly planner. Because I know sometimes you want a weekly one, sometimes you want a daily one. For me, I go back and forth. I really go back and forth between daily and weekly, depending on what my projects are, and depending on like how busy my life is and what types of things are taking my attention. If I have more client calls, then I need a daily one. If I have more bigger projects going on, then I do a weekly one. Leave a comment and let me know, what do you like best? What do you use most often? A daily planner or a weekly planner? Do you have a preference? Leave a comment and let me know. All right. So, Caroline says, I'm pretty boring. I'm a water girl. Yeah. I'm right there with you. I've got my water too. Those of you who are my clients are very familiar with these tumblers because I have them all the time, especially when I am talking a lot. I expect to be talking a lot tonight. So I've got my water right here with you. All right. Janet, you're here. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Daily for sure for Caroline. Ooh, yes. I would love to hear from more if you like daily, weekly, or does it change from project to project or whatever you're working on, or time of year maybe. Maybe you do daily for school and then over the summer you do weekly. I don't know. All right. I think we are ready to get going. Let me close this banner. There we go. All right. So, Planning Pajama Party. We're having this Planning Pajama Party because I want planning and goal setting and thinking about the future to be fun. I want it to be casual. I want it to be a party because I think a lot of us have these really big lofty goals. And when we can't reach those big lofty goals, or the world doesn't want to participate with us, or something crazy happens, it's really, really hard for us to bring it back together, regroup, and make another plan. Because we're like, I had a good plan to begin with, and now it's not working. Or we think, I tried planning in the past, and I couldn't stick with it, or something messed it up, and the whole thing fell apart. So why bother planning? And I kind of understand that. I really would love for you to think it's a new year. It's going to be a fresh start. Let's try planning again. And I'm going to give you some different ways to plan and different ways to figure out your goals, which maybe will give you a better insight on how to choose goals, how to choose resolutions, how to choose habits that will work for you. And that's kind of what being a life editor is all about. We need to experiment. We need to try different things. We need to edit constantly to figure out what's going to get us to our next chapter. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Sage Grayson, And I'm a former book editor turned life coach. So I was in book editing for 10 years before I transitioned to life coaching. And what I figured out is that if I could combine my book editing past with my life coaching present, I could create a really great framework for making positive change. And that's called my life editing process. And we're going to go over it later in this call. But leave a comment and let me know how many of you have used life editing before, or how many of you are completely new to life editing. I know this year in particular, I've gotten a lot of new life editors on my list, especially with my new planner that's come out. So some of you might be brand new to life editing, which is great because you're going to get a really like life editing 101 treatment later in this call. Okay, so we're going to have fun tonight. It's going to be casual. We're going to have some wine. We're going to drink our drinks. We're going to eat our snacks. We're going to use our planners, whether you're using my planner or your favorite planner. And we're going to think positively and hopefully about the new year. And we're doing it in our pajamas because we got to be comfy. We got to be comfy here. Oh, Caroline Newby, awesome. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so let's talk about why we should make a New Year's plan. Because when you think about it, it's kind of arbitrary. You could make a plan anytime. You could make a plan in July. You could make a plan in the middle of February. You can make a plan anytime that you want, which is great. And I really encourage that. That's why my planners are undated. So you can get started and dive in whenever it feels right to you. But why do so many of us kind of get caught up in this New Year's planning mode? Well, I've got three reasons why we should definitely consider New Year's planning. And the first one is it takes advantage of a fresh start. There is something so powerful about a fresh start. It makes the whole world seem new. It's like a blank sheet of paper. You know me, I'm always going back to that editing, all that writing stuff. It's like a blank sheet of paper in front of you. It's like a Word document that's open and there's nothing typed there yet. It's opening up a fresh new sketchbook and you got a whole bunch of Prismacolors right there and you're about to start drawing. It's amazing. So a fresh start motivates us simply because it's new and clear. So think about that. Think about Mondays. Yeah, that's a fresh start. Every week is a fresh start. That's why people start their diet on Monday, or that's why we're going to start running on Monday, or we're going to try a new habit. We're going to start meditating on Monday, or whatever it is. We're going to do meatless Mondays, whatever. Monday is a fresh start. And a lot of people like that energy of a fresh start every single week. Or how about a new job? Yeah, having a new job is definitely a fresh start. So think about the last time that you started a new job. It was exciting. It was maybe a little bit scary, but nobody knew anything about you. You were a blank slate and you didn't know anything about your new workplace. It was all new to you. You were learning as you were going, and it was okay to feel hopeful about your new job. New Year's is the same thing. Starting a new year, leaving behind anything bad from the previous year that we don't want to drag into our new future. Or how about this? Ladies, when you go through a breakup, yeah, that is a fresh start too. How many of you think like when you go through a breakup, it's time to do something new. It's time to get in shape. It's time to cut your hair. It's time to dye your hair. It's time to get a whole new wardrobe, a whole new attitude, maybe a new place. I don't know, a new dog, whatever it is. So a fresh start also comes with a newly single self. So that is definitely a fresh start to take advantage of. Leave a comment and let me know what other fresh starts do you see in your life? Like going to a new school, going to a new job, a New Year's, Mondays, a new relationship, or getting out of a relationship, moving. I just moved a few months ago. So yeah, these are all fresh starts. So the number one reason that we should plan in the new year is because it's a fresh start. We don't have to do anything. It's there. It's a fresh start that's waiting for us. And it's one of the biggest fresh starts of the year. The second reason that we need to take advantage of New Year's planning is because it gives us something to look forward to. It's really hard to be hopeful about the future when you're brooding about the past. And I really want you to think that the new year offers hope. It lets you have some fun. It lets you think, okay, maybe 2020 was a big mess, but 2021 doesn't have to be a big mess. Or maybe you made some bad choices last year, or maybe things just didn't fall into place the way that you wanted to. And maybe some things had to be shifted around or adjusted. But New Year's planning is important because it gives you hope. And that's really all we have. That's really all we need. We need to feel hopeful about the future. So let's see what you guys say. Tanya, moving forward with my business. Yes, so exciting. This is definitely a fresh start for you. And Celeste says, you move more. Married to an Air Force pilot. I know, Celeste, I move a lot. I move at least once a year, which sometimes it feels good and sometimes it's just not good. But this past move, which was like 2.5 months ago, maybe almost 3 months ago, it was really good because now I'm in a house and now I have like an actual office. I don't know if you remember some of my videos from earlier this year. I was like in a little corner and like you couldn't like see on either side of me because I was literally like in this teeny tiny little apartment. So this move is good. We've got some room now. I'm in Los Angeles, for those of you are wondering. Leave a comment and let me know, where are you calling in from? So anyway, so the second thing is that a new year plan gives us hope. It gives us something to look forward to. One thing I want to say in here is that when I'm working with my clients one-on-one, you guys know this, one of the first things I do when we get on a call is I ask them to tell me what's new and good. And that's to get them to focus on gratitude, focus on the things that are working for them, because we don't want to start off a coaching call by brooding about everything that's wrong and getting into a funk and then ranting about, oh, and this happened, it was awful. Like, we always want to focus on, okay, we'll get to that stuff. We'll get to solutions, but what's new and good right now? So with a new year, everything's new and good. Anything can happen. And that's beautiful. And I really want you to take advantage of that. Nice. Yes. From Quebec City, Canada. Hello, Caroline. Hoover, Alabama. Woohoo! Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I have clients all over the world. So I tried to pick a time where it was mostly night for most of us. It literally the sun just went down. It's a little after 5 here in LA. Okay, so the third reason, we're going to get through all these, the third reason why it's important to make a plan for the new year, it is because it gives you a purpose and focus instead of just winging it. I sent an email earlier this week about the dangers of winging it and why I really try to get my clients to stop winging it. So winging it is just the term that I use, but it's also known as drifting along or making it through the days or seeing what happens or flying by the seat of your pants. One of my clients says, it's always flying by the seat of my pants. And when you make a plan, you're not drifting along anymore. You're not just waiting for other things and other situations to make your choices for you. You're being proactive and purposeful with your life. And no, things might not be perfect right now in your life, but by making a plan, you're taking control of even what little things that you can take control of. And maybe that's just really simple. Maybe that's what you're eating or what time you're waking up in the morning or what you're wearing. It's something that you can take control of. And when you feel more in control of the little things in your life, it gives you confidence and courage to take control of bigger things in your life. Okay, so let's recap. 3 reasons why it's important to make a New Year's plan. Number 1, it takes advantage of a fresh start. Number 2, it gives you something fun to look forward to. It's all about hope. And number 3, it gives you purpose and focus so you're not winging it. Yes. Sarah, Riverside, woohoo. Got us California girls here. All right, so we get it. We understand. It's important to make a New Year's plan. And I don't want to discount planning other times, but think about, is there a way that you can have a fresh start, feel hopeful, and be focused in other times that you might plan? So maybe that's a mid-year plan, or maybe it's when you move, it's time to make a new plan. Or if you start a new job, or you started get out of a relationship or something like that, time to make a new plan. Okay, so we've all tried planning before. Maybe you've gone full into planning. Maybe you've kind of been half-hearted about it. Maybe you've been forced into a plan by somebody else, like your boss or whoever. But let's talk about 5 different kinds of planning. Because, of course, I've got my planning and I've got my way of thinking about things, a 12-week plan. And this is definitely what works for me. It's not going to work for everyone. You might have a different way of planning that really, really resonates with you, that really makes sense to you and how you think. So I want you to have permission to plan in a way that makes sense to you. So we're going to be talking about my way of planning tonight. You are totally fine. Tell me, like, Sage, that doesn't work for me. So let's talk about 5 different kinds of plans, because even if you don't take my advice, even if you don't use my way of planning, please plan something. I say this to my clients all the time. I don't care if you don't take my advice, but please do something. We're going to be proactive here. Okay, so let's talk about 5 different kinds of plans. So number 1, New Year's resolutions. Oh no! Don't hang up. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about New Year's resolutions, or maybe your feelings aren't mixed at all. Maybe you're just like, New Year's resolutions are terrible. I know a lot of people who just, they can't stand New Year's resolutions. And it really comes back to a lot of us making New Year's resolutions when we were younger and us not following through. Or maybe we work on them for a little while and then they fall apart by February. So for me, my birthday is mid-February. So that was always kind of like right around my birthday, like my New Year's resolutions would fall apart. But here's the thing. I think a lot of New Year's resolutions don't work for people because they're not really goals. Maybe that's a little groundbreaking. New Year's resolutions are not goals. They are not your goals. If you think of them as goals, then you're going to be disappointed. So someone make a New Year's resolution like, I'm going to find a new job this year. Okay, that tells me nothing about what kind of job you're looking for, how often you're going to apply, where you're going to apply, who you're going to be networking with. Do you need to redo your resume? Do you need to make some kind of portfolio? That tells me nothing. So if you think, I'm just going to get a new job this year, there's no specificity to that. There's no action plan to that. And you have a whole year to like goof off and not reach that goal. I like to think of New Year's resolutions as something that you resolve to do. New Year's resolutions are more of a feeling and intention. I mean, it's in the name. It's something you resolve to do. It's a way you resolve to live your life during the year. So a better New Year's resolution would be to say that I'm going to feel fulfilled and happy in my new career. There's like no specificity to that. There's no like timeline to that. There's no action to that because it's not a goal. We're going to talk about goals, but your New Year's resolutions are not goals. So you could have a New Year's resolution that says, I'm going to feel healthy this year. I'm going to get healthy this year so I can play with my kids. That would be something you resolve to do. It's a way you want to feel. It's an intention. So think of like your New Year's resolutions as an umbrella over the whole year. Like, this is what I want out of this year. Or if you're doing a 12-week plan, this is what I want out of these 12 weeks. So I guess for me, I want to feel confident and that my business is growing and moving in a positive direction. Like, that could be my New Year's resolution. I could have a New Year's resolution to strengthen the bonds with my friends this year. So if you decide to do a New Year's resolution, make it a feeling of how you want to feel. Make it an intention, but don't say that your New Year's resolution has to be a goal. It's better if you make it an overarching umbrella theme to your year. Does that make sense? So it's just a way that you resolve to live. So if you've ever made a New Year's resolution that was like a hybrid between a goal and a feeling, that might have been why it didn't work out for you. We're going to talk about goal planning too, but it's okay to make a New Year's resolution just as long as you understand it's not a specific goal. Number 2, A different kind of planning is to choose a word of the year. So if you do nothing for planning, if you don't buy a planner, if you don't watch any planning videos, if you don't make any goal plans or project plans, if you wing it almost everything, if you do nothing else, I want you to create a word for your year. This is by far the simplest form of planning that I can think of. And you might be thinking, okay, choosing a word for my year, that's not a plan, but it is. Here's what I'm talking about. For those of you who are new to the idea of a word for the year, is you pick a word or a very short phrase to be your guiding light through the course of the year. So you might choose, your word might be family. So if that's your word, then everything you do throughout the year has to go through the screen of family. So if you're thinking about taking a new job, how would that job affect your family? If you're thinking about taking on a new hobby, how will that affect the family? If you're thinking of investing, how will that affect the family for whatever reason? So your word is what you use as a guide throughout the whole year. So whenever you have a decision to make, you ask, does this decision line up with my word? So if you, I do have a really good book for you to read. It's called Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. And basically, she decided to say yes to anything that was offered to her for an entire year. I love this book. I absolutely love this book. And it's a perfect book to read in the new year. So basically, her word for the year was yes. So whenever an opportunity or a decision came up, she had to think, okay, does this thing have me saying yes to life, have me saying yes to being around people, have me saying yes to being around opportunities? And that guided her throughout the year. So let's think of another word. Maybe your word is relax or self-care. So if your word is relax and you're going through the year and you want to start a business, but you think you have to blog every single day, you have to email 1 million times a day, and you have to be on social media constantly, you have to have a phone in your face all the time. Is that relaxed? Maybe not. Maybe there's a different way you can run your business that still incorporates your word, relaxed. So leave a comment and let me know. Have any of you ever chosen a word for the year? And if you did, what was that word and how did it guide you through the year? I also suggest choosing a word for a project. So let's say you are putting out some kind of project, whether it's a report for work, or you're taking on a big project like running a marathon, or you're putting out a digital product for your business. Is there a word that can guide you through that process? So I recently published the new version of Startup in 60, which is my business course. And if I had to choose a word for that, it was probably a phrase. It was short and sweet. Every time I was writing a script, every time I was working on a worksheet, every time I was putting up a resource, I had in my head, short and sweet, short and sweet. And if you go through Startup in 60, that's exactly the type of feeling that that course has, because they're very short, 2-minute, 3-minute videos. And I give you homework that's only 60 seconds long per day. So that's an example of using a word for a project. Let's see. Oh, Celeste, my word is focus. My business actions must fall within the focus of my top 3 goals. Yes, yes, yes. Quit making everything and being all over the place. Oh my gosh. That is so true for many people I know. I actually used the word focus a few years ago, and it really helped me streamline about like what my priorities are and focusing in just on those things instead of bright, shiny object syndrome. Is that what they call it? Where you're like, ooh, ooh, squirrel, squirrel. And I get that. That's exciting. But you don't get stuff done when you're all over the place. And Celeste also continues, my personal word of the year is me. I love that. This year I am taking for myself. Self-care to the max. Yes. Finally putting myself first. I'm 41 and I have never made my life about me. Oh my gosh. How many of you relate to this? Like, yeah, maybe this should be everyone's homework. I think everyone needs a year of me, at least a few times in your life. Like, holy moly. Yeah, I'm turning 40 next year. which I'm really excited about because I love birthdays. But yeah, I want to do stuff for me too. I think that's an awesome word of the year. Sarah says, Deborah, we're neighbors. Yes. Caroline says, I think my word would be self-love. Never done it before, but I like the concept. Ooh, I like that too. Focusing on how can you be loving to yourself. I think I see a lot of my clients being very loving, but not necessarily loving to themselves. I think that would be a wonderful word of the year. Yeah, Sarah says, mine needs to be balanced. Yeah, I know. Maybe we all need a little bit of balance too. But yeah, Sarah, for those of you who don't know Sarah, she's an extremely hard worker. And yeah, definitely balancing that self-care, which I think you've gotten a lot better at this year. So great. So a word of the year is the simplest form of planning because all you need to do is choose a word. And then whenever you have a decision or a choice or a project that comes up in your life during the year, just run it by your word. Does it follow the word? If not, don't do it. If it does support the word, then do it. One thing I will say is that I have a word for my life. Yeah, I chose this word maybe 10 years ago, but I think I've been living it for longer than that. So this is a challenge if maybe you want to choose a word for your life too. But the word that I choose for my life is kind. So everything that I do in my life, I run it through the filter of, is this blank being kind? So for me, going through anything, when I'm interacting with a client who's maybe swearing at me, definitely has happened to me, or getting really angry at me, how can I be kind to them while still being kind to myself? So one of the ways I'm kind to myself is I have strict business hours. I don't work on the weekends. I got to have those boundaries in my life, which we're going to talk about. Also, the things that I buy, is this being kind to the earth? That is also a reason I'm a vegan, because I ask myself, is what I'm eating, is that being kind? So I'm certainly not perfect at this. There are definitely times in my life when I'm not being kind, or maybe I'm being snooty, or maybe I'm just being like a tired grump. It definitely happens, but I definitely try to think about how can I be kind in this situation. So yeah, I definitely think if you get nothing out of this planning party tonight, is pick a word for your year, or pick a word for your life, or pick a word for your next project. And it just makes planning so much simpler because all you have to do is think of your word. Okay, so that was number 2. We got different kinds of planning. Number 1 is New Year's resolutions. It's an overarching feeling. Number 2 is a word of the year. So simple. Number 3, you guys know I love this. It's a 12-week plan. This is my favorite way of planning, and it's what I use for my Edit My Life planner. Let me pop that up there again. So if you haven't gotten your Edit My Life planner, it's available now, and it is a planner and a mini course bundle. So you get the daily planner and the weekly planner, plus a 5-day video series. So why do I love 12-week planning? Well, I've been using 12-week plans for about 8 years now. I no longer do annual planning. And the reason that I do 12-week plans is because 12 weeks is short enough to feel urgent. You have that underlying hum of urgency. You always feel like the clock is ticking if you've only got 12 weeks to reach your goals. But 12 weeks is also long enough that you see lasting results. If you work on something for 12 weeks, for 90 days, you're going to see those good habits stick. You're going to see the results of your new business tactics, or your new ads, or your new whatever you're putting out there. You're going to know if that new job is good for you if you've been there for 90 days. You're going to start forming those deeper bonding relationships with your new friends or your new partner in those 90 days. So 12 weeks is the sweet spot for planning. Short enough to feel urgent, long enough for lasting results. Also, here's something that maybe all of us learned this year. It's really, really hard to think about where you're going to be a year from now. Anyone else know that we would be locked down, quarantine, pandemic last December. Did anyone else see this coming? Because I sure didn't. And I think this year, a lot of people kind of learned that you can't count on knowing what's going to happen a year from now. But 3 months from now, like that's a manageable amount of time. I can really imagine where I'm going to be 3 months from now. It's closer and it feels more tangible. I don't know where we're going to be a year from now. I'm hoping that we're not going to be locked down like this, but who knows? So making a 12-week plan gives you this manageable chunk of time that you can actually control, that you can actually conceptualize. So that's why I love 12-week planning. Leave a comment and let me know. Have you ever made a 12-week plan, or are you still doing annual plans? I don't know. The folks that I find that are the holdouts, that are like holding on to those annual plans, I'm going to do 12 months of planning. They're the ones who, it comes December, November, and they're like, whoops, I haven't reached my goals yet. And then there's a mad dash to try to reach them, or lose 100 pounds in a month, or earn $1 million in a month. And it's like, you could have broken that down into chunks and did little 12 weeks at a time. I think 12 months of planning gives you too much opportunity to be procrastinating. Honestly, it doesn't feel urgent, and that's what we want. Celeste says, I never thought I could use a planner that isn't 12 months. Yeah. Then I began digital planning in the spring, and I have planners that I used here and there, but it's been so fun and kept me using a planner. Yeah. I think there's a lot less pressure when you do a 12-week plan. Leave a comment, let me know. Have you tried digital planning yet? I'm a total pen and paper girl, although I do use a little bit of digital planning. I use Trello and I use Google Calendar, but like that's about it. That's about as high tech as I get. So Janet says, I'm lucky to plan an entire week. Yeah, I hear you. Sometimes we can barely think a week ahead, and I get it. So maybe a word of the year would be more appropriate than a great big plan. Just take a sip of my apple cranberry pomegranate. Okay, so 12-week plan is number 3. Number 4, a different kind of planning, is pyramid planning. So pyramid planning, maybe you've heard it's called something else, but I always think it's a pyramid. So pyramid planning is about structuring your goals, projects, and tasks in this logical format. So at the bottom of your pyramid, if you think of a pyramid with 3 levels, the bottom of your pyramid are tasks. You're gonna have lots and lots of little daily tasks. And above that are your projects, and you have fewer projects, and your projects are made up of your tasks. And at the very, very top are your goals, and you have even fewer goals. That's why it's at the top of your pyramid. And your goals are made up of projects. So sometimes when we're choosing goals, we're actually choosing projects, but not goals. So what's the difference? So your goals are your big, SMART goals. They're specific, they're measurable. There's an intention behind why you're doing that. A project leads to the goals, and your tasks make up the projects. So sometimes I'll have a client who will come with me and come with her goal, and her goal is, I want to write a book. And this is true because many of my clients are writers. And I think that makes sense because I'm a former book editor, so they kind of like want to be with someone who understands publishing. But they'll come in and say, okay, I'm going to write a book this year. And I'm like, okay, that's a project. Why are we writing a book? And then I'll get like this blank look. So maybe a better goal would be, I want to earn $10,000 this year through my writing in some way. And one thing under that could lead you to that bigger goal is writing and publishing a book. Or someone will come to me and say, I need a brand new website. That's what I'm going to do. That's my goal this year, is to have a brand new website. Why? Why do you need a brand new website? And then we talk more about it. Maybe their big goal is that I want to serve 100 graphic design clients this year. Do you need a new website to do that? That's a project. That's not an end goal. Goal has some kind of intention behind it. So when you do pyramid planning, every task you do during the day must relate to a project. And every project you work on must directly relate to a goal. So you'll never be doing something just to do it. So if you think, oh, I've got to get a new logo. Why? Like, how does your logo lead to your goal? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does. I don't know. Or someone will say, I've got to post on social media every single day. Why? Does that lead to your goal? There are many, many different ways to get to your goal. And sometimes we just waste time on busy work that doesn't actually lead anywhere. So this happened to me. I was spending time on social media platforms that weren't giving me a good return on investment. So I narrowed it down just to 2 social media platforms where I did get a lot of traffic. Or I would think in my head, I have to do like this great big project, or I have to do this thing, but it wasn't actually earning me money or getting me followers. So now when you do pyramid planning, everything is connected. Everything leads back to your goals. You're not just doing something because it's a bright, shiny object or somebody told you to do it. Does that make sense? Celeste says, I've been writing down what I do in a day after it's done. Yes, yes, yes. I am so creative. I have no shortage of ideas. I'm not focused this way. I am working, but not moving forward in the way I want to. Yes. So raise your hand. How many of you have a progress journal? This is something that I do with my clients too, is that keep a list of all of your wins, all of the things that you complete during the day. And a lot of times I actually do this for my planner too, is I have a running list in Trello of all of my projects and all of my tasks. And then as I complete them, I write them in my planner as a progress journal. So it's not a to-do list, it's a done list, which is great because then I can flip back through my planner and see everything that I've done during the day and get that extra boost of like, oh, I am accomplishing stuff. I am moving closer to my goals. So let me know if you've ever used a progress journal as your planner. Yeah, pyramid planning does make sense because you're busy. I know each and every one of you has a million things going on. You do not need to waste your time on tasks that don't actually lead you to your goal. So I don't know, like let's say your goal is to run a marathon and beat your best time so that you feel confident and whatever. I use the marathon thing, one, because I have clients who've run marathons. It's not my thing, but people do that. And it's something that we can conceptualize. So if that's your great big goal is to beat your best time at a marathon, are you going to, I don't know, spend 10 hours looking for the best shoes that have just the right shade of pink? I don't know. I bet you could find shoes that work well, that maybe are white or black or whatever, and not just the right shade of pink. Or are you going to spend hours and hours reading about the lives of top marathoners? Or are you going to get out there and start running? Like, I want to make sure that everything you're doing isn't busy work. It's not research. It's not admin stuff that's eating up your day, but it's not really leading to anywhere. I want everything that you're doing to actually lead to your goals. And we're going to get there in a minute. Pam says, I've made done lists in my daily notebook. Yes, yes. I love this. So making a done list, a progress journal, yeah, whatever it is that you're working on during the day, like a list of wins, that is really, really helpful, especially on those days when you're not feeling motivated. You can flip back through your planner and be like, see, look, I am making progress. I am doing good work. So, all right, we've got one more. 5th type of planning is my life editing process. You knew I was going to bring that up, of course, because it's my framework that I use for my business. So for those of you who are new, my life editing process, which I go into much more detail with in the Edit My Life Planner. Let me pop that back up. So in the 5-day video course that goes along with Edit My Life Planner, there's a whole video about my life editing process. So basically, when I transitioned from book editor to life coach, I realized that I was teaching my clients how to make changes in their lives the same way I used to edit manuscripts. And I was like, can I do this? Can I treat my clients as if they're books? I don't know, maybe. I consider you all brilliant works of of literature. So basically, when I was a book editor, I would get a manuscript dumped on my desk, and it would be terrible. And I say that in such a loving way, but it would be terrible. It would be terrible. There would be typos, there would be grammatical errors, there would be sentences that would drift off to nowhere. There would be like pictures and images that we don't have permission for, and like all sorts of mess. So it was my job to go through the manuscript and clean it up. That's the point of a book editor. But what I didn't do is say, wow, this manuscript is bad, and just throw it in the trash. I did not do that because that wasn't my job. So as I was going through the manuscript, it was all about seeing, okay, what's good enough to keep, what needs to be deleted, what can I add in to fill out the rough spots, what can I rearrange to make it make sense, and how can I present this in a good layout so people want to read this book. And we're going to get into the life editing process in a little bit. But basically, the way that you can plan with the life editing process is to go through the 5 steps of the life editing process, either one at a time, or go through like one a month. In my Life Editor Academy, which is paused right now because of the pandemic, with my Life Editor Academy, we would do 1 step of the 5-step process per month. So January would be all about gratitude, and February would be all about deleting, and March would be all about adding. You can go through the 5 steps for one area of your life. Maybe you'll go through all 5 steps for your career, and then you'll go through all 5 steps for your health, and then all 5 steps for your relationships. Or you can go through all 5 steps generally, just as you are going through your life, as you are seeing things that pop up that need editing. So that is the 5th and final different kind of editing or planning that I would love for you to try. So let's go over them one more time. New Year's resolutions, word of the year, a 12-week plan, pyramid planning, and then the life editing process. So leave a comment and let me know. Have you tried any of those ways of planning? Is one way more appealing to you than another? Or do you have a completely different way of planning that's really worked for you? I would love to hear your comments. So go ahead and leave a comment. Okay, I think we are ready to say goodbye to 2020. Oh, 2020. Has it been tough for you? Because I don't know a single person who didn't have a really, really rough year. But it's almost over. We're almost done. So we're going to say goodbye to 2020 right now. Before we continue, I want you to grab a notebook or a notes app or a journal or something to write with a Post-it note, I don't care, or even your planner, wherever you have some paper or a spot to write, because I'm going to give you some prompts, and then I want you to write your answers down. And if you're watching the replay, that's perfect, because you can pause, take a moment, write, and then start the video back up again. So if you're watching this live and you don't have any notebook or paper, no worries. Just watch the replay when I send it out later, and you can go through the prompts. Sarah says, 2020, goodbye and good riddance. Janet says, kick it out the door. Absolutely, absolutely. Caroline says, the only things I've been planning are my meals. Hey, I will take that. I will take that as a win. Meal planning is definitely a form of planning, and it's definitely helpful. Like, I mean, if you have your meals done, that's one less thing you have to worry about. And that's 3 times a day. You don't have to worry about what you're going to eat or what you're going to make, or is it together, or is it portioned out? It's done for you. And that makes it easier for you to concentrate on some of those bigger things that actually need your attention. So if you've got client calls, or you got to be there for your kids, or you've got some kind of report to do for your work, that gets your attention, not, do I have stuff to make a sandwich? Like, you don't need to worry about meals. It's done for you, so you can concentrate on the bigger things. So yeah, Caroline, I will take that. Meal planning definitely works. Okay, got your journals? Here we go. We're going to say goodbye to 2020. And these prompts that I'm going to give you are a little snippet from a brand new class that's in the Life Editor Clubhouse called End of Year Review. So let me know, have you watched End of Year Review? It's a class in the Life Editor Clubhouse, and Life Editor Clubhouse is my membership site where I put new video classes every month. And we also do weekly group calls in our Facebook group. And there's a lot of like exclusive freebies and goodies in there. So if you'd like to join the Life Editor Clubhouse, just go to my website, sagegrayson.com. I'll leave a comment after I'm done with this call, so you can join the Clubhouse too. So this is a little snippet from the end of your review, but if you want a really more in-depth review process of going over your successes and challenges and making a really detailed plan, go watch the class. Okay, so number one, I want you to list your biggest successes from 2020. So write down your biggest successes from 2020. Anything at all that was a success. So it could be something for your business. Yeah, it could be income. It could be you made a new friend. It could be you lost weight, or you saved money, or maybe you tried something new, like started a new hobby, or anything that could have been a success. You didn't yell at your mother-in-law over Thanksgiving. I don't know. You tell me what your biggest successes are. So if you need to pause this video, if you're watching the replay, and write down what your biggest successes are. And if you want to leave a comment, if you know what your biggest success was, go ahead and leave a comment. All my curls are gone. I curled my hair right before we started, and they're all gone. They're all gone. I got to tell you, it's like 75 degrees here. So I know a lot of you have like 3 feet of snow and it's like 30 degrees. I grew up in Chicago, so I know all about blizzards and polar vortexes. But right now, like this is like a knit pajama set. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see my knit pajamas? But it's like really, really warm here. So I'm like sitting here sweating. That's why I'm not drinking cocoa, because it's really warm. All right, so biggest successes from 2020. Make sure you write them down, because we're going to use them later as we're planning your goals. Sarah, what do you say? I avoided being committed to the loony bin. Oh, no straitjacket there. I'll take that as a win. I'll take that as a win. How many of you just barely missed it? Barely missed it. The guys with the white jackets were coming and they were going to get you and drag you away. I've been there. I've been there many a time. So yes, Sarah, we are all there with you. We didn't make it to the loony bin. Thank you. Thank you for saying my pajamas are cute. All right. All right. So we got that. We're done. Okay, moving on. Biggest successes. So next part is, what were your biggest challenges of 2020? Write them down. What were your biggest challenges of 2020? So this could be a challenge in any area of your life. I think we have a worldwide challenge right now. Yeah. How did your life get affected from the pandemic? Yeah. I think a lot of us, I know personally, a lot of my clients are either lost their jobs, which was horrible, or their hours were vastly cut, or their spouses lost their jobs and they had to scramble for other income sources. For me personally, so grateful that my business is still running. But as you guys noticed, I lost 1/3 of my business, because 1/3 of my business was live retreats. I would host 4 live retreats a year. So my Life Editor Weekend Retreat, which was open to the public, and then 3 retreats for my Life Editor Academy. So during this pandemic, when we're all in lockdown and we're all quarantining and keeping everyone safe, thankfully, we're doing the safe thing, I lost a huge chunk of my business. So I had to rearrange and move things around and adjust things. But I would say the loss of my live event income was huge for me this year. So thank goodness no one that I knew got sick or had really, really dire circumstances, but a lot of people are struggling. So write down, what were your biggest challenges this year? Celeste says, creating my self-care planner, girl curlers, woo! And the self-care planner company Patreon site with workbooks and planner stickers. So that was a challenge. I would say that was probably a challenge because it was brand new to you and it was big. I could see, just looking at this, there's at least 100 different things that you'd have to do to get that off the ground. So I could see how that was a big challenge, but probably really rewarding too. So as you're writing down challenges, you might have some things that were bad or frustrating or challenging, but there might have also been something good that came out of them too. Like I can say, like I lost a third of my business, but I was able to shift into other things, which were really, really rewarding. So that's okay. It's okay to have a mix of both. Sarah, staying out of the loony bin. This year, you're out of the loony bin. We'll see. Seriously though, finding the motivation to get the job done each day. Oh yeah. I'm right there with you. So how many of you, especially during this time when everything was up in the air and there was so much frustration, and not just the pandemic, but with racial injustice, with the election, with, I don't know, it felt like the whole world was angry this year. How many of you woke up in the morning and were like, do I really have to do this again? Do I really have to get up and be functioning again? Like, I got to tell you, there were some days where I was like, really, I got to pull it together again. So yeah, Sarah, I applaud you for finding motivation to do even a little bit every single day. Absolutely counts. Caroline says, taking care of my father's will and my mom's finances was challenging, but I'm almost finished. So this is a success for me. Yes. So you can have a success come out of a challenge. Totally understand. Yeah, I think a lot of people, a lot of my clients I know, they're kind of, what's that called? A sandwich generation, where you're helping out your kids still and you're helping out your elderly parents and family members. It's a tough place to be for anyone. Celeste, challenge. Oh my God, I learned so much tech stuff. Hated every minute of it. I know, I'm not a tech girl either. I get it. But build a great business that was worth it. P.S. Do your live virtually. I told you that 4 years ago, so I can go. Thanks, Celeste. Celeste is always good about giving me a hard time and putting me in my place. So I get it. Yes, I did. I did life editing, which was the Life Editor weekend. Yes, in 2017. Do you guys remember that one? We did that one virtually. Do you remember why we had to do it virtually? Because I was living in Orlando, Florida at that time, and there was a hurricane. And I had 22 people who bought tickets who were showing up, and I had to email and call everyone like 2 days before and say, don't come, there's a hurricane. And it was awful. And I had to pack up everything. So me and my ex-husband, we packed up the car, we got my dog, and we drove to New Orleans so we could ride it out there away from the hurricane. And it was awful. Like we came back and there were trees down and houses had like big holes in them and stuff in our neighborhood. It was a mess. So that year for my retreat, I did it virtually. So I'm actually thinking about doing my Life Editor weekend retreat virtually again in 2021. That's on the radar. And doing possibly my Life Editor Academy virtually as well too. So stay tuned and let me know how you feel about that. The one thing that I had to learn this year is, because I'm an extrovert and I'm a big hugger. If you guys have come to my retreats, you know I'm like, come here. I'm a huge hugger, and I'm all about like being in your face and like singing with you and kumbaya-ing with you and all of that stuff. So this year has been challenging to me as an extrovert because I can't go out and hug people. I can't go out and have pizza parties with my clients. I just can't do it. So let me know. Would you be interested in a virtual retreat? Would you send me virtual hugs? Because that would be great. Ooh, school closure. So Pam says, trying to support my teen through the early days of school closure and lack of readiness by schools. Yeah, I don't think any of the schools are prepared. Yeah, Celeste, you got it. We should do a virtual retreat. So leave comments, send emails, let me know. What would you want to see in a virtual retreat? And those of you who have come to a live retreat before, what did you like about a live retreat that we could translate into a virtual retreat? One thing that we always do at my live retreats is vision board party. I don't know. Do we need to have a vision board party? Maybe we do. We could definitely do that virtually. Oh, Janet, miss the life editor weekends. I miss them too. Remember that vividly. Yep. Celeste got it right. Got to attend the virtual 2017 weekend. It was great. Yeah. Yeah. So that is definitely something in the works. Hurricane. Yeah. Hurricane was nutty. It was so nutty. Like, I'm so glad that we were able to leave. My lights just fell down. Okay. In the early days, it felt like it was hard to breathe. Emotionally claustrophobic. Yep. Yeah, the academy definitely is something that could be done virtually as well. Do breakouts in Zoom. Yep. So that's the thing. I think a lot of businesses like mine that did have a very much live component are learning how to adjust and do more virtual things. Like certainly I've been doing that more this year, more with my Clubhouse. Like you Clubhouse members know, we do a virtual group call every week, every Wednesday. So moving that into some of the other aspects of my business to get those up and running again is definitely in the works. Okay, next part. We are still in the process of saying goodbye to 2020. So I want you to write down, what do you want more of? What do you want more of? Money? I don't know. I think everyone's writing down money. Do you want more money? Do you want more self-care? More free time? More freedom in general? Do you want more time with your kids? Do you want more time away from your kids? I don't know. I don't judge. Do you want more getting out of the house, more vacations, whatever that might look like? Do you want more compassion, forgiveness? What do you want more of in 2021? Leave a comment and let me know. What are you thinking of? Even if you're watching the replay, leave a comment. What do you want more of? For me, like we just said, I want more connection with my clients. I feel like I lost a lot of that when I wasn't able to do retreats. And what else do I want more of? Well, actually, this year has been wonderful. I've gotten lots more time with my dog, Skyla. I say this every year. I want to read more. I already read a lot, but I want to read more. I feel like I need to like block off whole days just for reading. I read anywhere from 1 to 3 books a week, which to some people, they might be like, you read 3 books a week. And the other people are like, 3 books a week? That's nothing. So let me know how many books you read. But I'm a former book editor. Like I've been in publishing most of my adult life. So I love reading. Ooh, good one, Caroline. More energy, more purpose, specifically for your work. Yes. More energy. I think there's lots of different ways to get more energy. And a lot of that is like, we're going to talk about deleting, cutting out the things that drain your energy. And then also maybe getting away from people or situations that maybe like zap your energy too. Maybe that has to do with food. Like, are you eating foods that give you energy? Or maybe working on certain projects that light you up, that give you energy. I like it. Routine. Want more routine. Going to follow the seasons and the moon. Oh, I love that. Yeah. So whatever routine looks like for you, like for me, it's my 12-week plan, 12 weeks, 12 weeks, 12 weeks. That's my routine. We're going to talk about schedules in a little bit too. But yeah, whatever, like the perfect routine, a really good uplifting routine. What does that look like for you? Sarah wants more balance, more money, more focus. Wouldn't turn down reading time. Yeah, I know you're a reader too. So yeah, all of it's good. All of it's good. Okay. Next part, on the flip side, what do you want less of? It's going into 2021. What do you want less of? Any ideas? Maybe less of a certain person. I don't know. Maybe less spammy emails. I've been unsubscribing and blocking a lot of stuff. I get a lot of spammy emails. Maybe less frustration. Maybe that means streamlining your focus. I don't know. What do you want less of? Nikki, chaos. Isn't that perfect? That's exactly what we want less of. Less chaos. Yeah. I think now that might seem like something that you don't have control over, because we don't have control over like the world or what other people are doing or other people's decisions or other people's bad decisions. But we definitely can control the chaos in our own little bubble. So anything that's making you feel out of sorts, anything that's making you feel jumbled up, anything that's making you feel like the worst version of yourself, you have control of limiting that chaos. So let's think. Things that make me feel like the worst version of myself is when I'm eating nothing but junk food. That makes me feel like the worst version of myself because it makes me sleepy, it makes me feel bloated. So cutting out junk food, that would eliminate some chaos in my life. One way, I always mention this, one way I eliminated chaos in my life, in my business specifically, is having set business hours. I used to take calls any time of day or night, even on the weekends, and that was nutty. That was awful. So I eliminated that by having strict business hours. Sometimes you have to be your own boss and like put yourself in your place. Yeah, less chaos. Got it. Follow less people on social media. Not you. Oh, of course, not me. It's totally okay. I totally get it. So yeah, like unsubscribing from emails that you don't need to be reading anymore, unfollowing people on social media, anything to like clear out the junk. I totally get that. I have to do that periodically. I have to do that almost like once a month, just clear out anything else that I got signed up for or anyone else I'm following that's not in alignment with me anymore. Just cleaning that up constantly. Yeah. Less interruptions. Yes. One thing, I have loving interruptions daily from my lovely dog, Skyla. I will take her interruptions, but sometimes it's a lot. I do also know she used to have this habit, which she doesn't do as much anymore, but every time I would get on a client call and she'd hear me say, "Hey, so-and-so, glad to see you," she would grab her squeakiest toy and like sit under my desk and just squeak it during a client call. So yeah. So it was a lovely interruption. Less worry, less fear, less frustration, less of not feeling in control. Yeah, these are all wonderful things that you want less of. Going to walk my pups, so I'll just be listening for a while, probably not responding. No worries, Janet. Yeah, so if you guys are watching this replay, pause it as much as you need, come back to us, go through the questions again. Okay, we've got one more question to say goodbye to 2020. I want you to write down, what was the biggest lesson that you learned? What was the biggest lesson that you learned in any area of your life? Maybe you learned something about yourself. Maybe you learned something about your business. Maybe you learned something about somebody else, not to trust them. Yeah, what was your biggest lesson? I guess I have two biggest lessons from this year. My biggest lesson was probably editing my business and being a little bit more free-flowing and adjusting, pivoting with my business as you were. Because I did lose a chunk of my business and had to readjust for other things. So maybe I didn't have live retreats this year, but I was able to restructure the clubhouse into Kajabi, which I loved so much. And I was able to redo and revamp Startup in 60, which is amazing now. Like I really liked the old program. This one is like 10 times better than the old program. And I was able to update it with stuff that was like 5 years out of date. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was hosting 4 live retreats. I was also able to put out a new planner. This would not have happened if I hadn't been stuck in lockdown. So yeah, pivoting was a big lesson for me this year. Adjusting, editing, going with the flow, which you guys know me. I am type A, I'm high strung, I'm super anal. It's a badge of honor. But this year I had to be a little bit more free flowing. That was a big lesson for me. So yeah, leave a comment and let me know, what was your biggest lesson from this year? Celeste says, less free stuff that's adding clutter to my planner life and taking away from my focus. Yeah. It's so funny. Like I sign up for like a whole bunch of like free digital like programs. And then like I get through half of them. And then I get emails forever and ever and ever. Or like free stuff just comes in the mail or whatever. How many of you have like tote bags and t-shirts and pens. I have a lot of pens. Stuff that like, why do I have all this junk? It's clutter. It's really taking away from what you need to focus on. That's perfect, Celeste. All right. So we're going to wrap that up for saying goodbye to 2020. Like I mentioned before, that was just a snippet of the new class end of year review. I'm trying to remember what's the name. So if you log into the Life Editor Clubhouse, there's a new class in there called End of Year Review. And that was just a snippet of that class. So there's many more questions, many more prompts to get you to go really deep with how you changed over this year and where you want to go in the next year. So if you're watching this, quick recap, biggest successes, biggest challenges, what do you want more of, what do you want less of, and your biggest lesson. So make sure you take time, either now or if you're watching this later, and write down your answers because you're going to need them as we start goal planning. So Nikki says, you can't control others' actions, but you can control how you react to them. X moved out and his attitude got ugly. Oh, yeah. I think all of us have somebody in our lives that we're like, ooh, we can't control them, but we can control how we react to that. That's perfect. That's a really good lesson to learn. But I think we don't give ourselves enough credit. We do have more control over our lives than we think we do. And a lot of that mindset shifting and getting into a better headspace can make it a lot easier to deal with some of those nasty people. All right. So we're moving on. I want to do a quick crash course of the life editing process and how you can use it to come up with ideas and priorities. So we're going to get to the goal planning section of this call in a little bit, but I want to talk about coming up with those ideas about what my goals should be. So I don't want you just writing down a goal like, that should be my goal. Let's come up with all the possibilities, all the different ideas that could be incorporated into our goals. And as you start doing this life editing process, you're going to start noticing what your priorities are. And your priorities are maybe those big categories in your life that you're going to devote most of your time to in the next 12 weeks. You're not going to do everything, but there are certain categories of your life that need more attention. So we'll go through this pretty quickly. So for those of you who have done the Edit My Life Planner mini course, you'll remember this worksheet from one of the daily videos. So this is your LEAP worksheet, your life editing action plan. So we're going to go through the 5 steps of the life editing process. And I want you to write down different things that you're going to edit in your life based on these prompts. So keep your journal out. We're going to do some life editing here. Okay. So as I mentioned before, step 1 of the life editing process is to create a foundation. Now, a foundation in your life is something that keeps you stable. It supports you. It helps you do what you need to do. Your foundation are the good things that are already working for you. So just like a foundation of a house keeps that house standing upright, your foundation keeps you upright. So like I mentioned before, when I get on my client calls and I say, what's new and good, we're going to always focus on gratitude. It's your gratitude foundation first. So even if there are things that are not going well, there are things that are working for you. So I want you to list down 3 positive things that are in your foundation right now. So the things that support you, the things that are working well. And a lot of times that's, you got your family, you got your spouse, your kids, your friends who support you. Maybe you have a well-paying job. Maybe it's not the perfect job, but you got a job that supports you. Maybe you have a roof over your head and food to eat. This is all part of your foundation. So what things are working for you? What are you grateful for? And every so often I'll get on a call with someone who's in a really bad mood and they're like, there's nothing. There's nothing in this whole world that I'm grateful for. I have no foundation. Nothing is supporting me. Nothing is holding me up. And we'll dig a little deeper and be like, okay, let's go smaller. You're breathing in and out. You have internet to be on this call with me. Very basically, you woke up this morning. Thousands of other people did not. So if you're frustrated and feeling like the whole world is out to get you, always come back to your foundation. It's what's going to support you as you make these big changes. I know a lot of people like to dive right into the changes, like, let's make a new habit, let's get those goals rolling, let's do those project plans, which is great, but you need to have something to stand on. You need to have some kind of support system. You need to have some things that are working for you. And when you focus on those good things, it makes it so much easier to make those big edits later. So leave a comment, let me know what is in your foundation, and then I want you to write down 3 positive things in your foundation. So when you're struggling later, you can always come back to those. Okay, moving on. Step 2 is delete bad influences. So just like how a book editor needs to cross off all of the things that don't make sense in the manuscript, you need to delete and get rid of any bad influence in your life that's not adding value to your life. So some things are going to be really easy to delete. Let's say you have some kind of health goal, and you've got a pantry full of junk food, potato chips, chocolate, whatever, and you know those things are hurting you. So deleting those, getting that in the trash, soda is out of here, all of that stuff, that's a good thing to delete. Or let's say you have a really crummy job. It's just not good for you. You're stressed out and you're going out of your mind every time you have to go to this awful job. I've been there. Like years ago, I had a really, really horrible job, and it was making me sick every morning to have to go to that job. So maybe that's something to delete. Maybe you have a house full of clutter and you need to clean up and get all of that junk out of there. So I want you to write down 3 bad influences that you want to edit. Now I say edit because ideally you can delete those things. Get them out of your life. Frenemy who doesn't add value to your life, you're out of here. Junk in your bedroom closet, gone. Like, it's easy to delete some things, but some things you can't delete. Like maybe you're in a tight financial spot right now and you can't just quit your job. I get it. Or maybe there's someone in your family that you can't completely cut out. If there's a situation like that where you can't delete it, you can create a boundary around that bad influence. So maybe you only see that person in specific situations or at specific locations and only at specific times. Like you don't let them come into your house anytime. Or maybe for your job, you stick to your work hours, you don't do any overtime, and you do anything you can to make that job more pleasant since you're stuck there. Like maybe you go out for lunch so you have a break during the day. Or maybe you wear your favorite outfit to make yourself feel happier, even though you have to go to a crummy job. So leave a comment and let me know, what 3 things are you going to delete or create a boundary around? So let's see. Celeste says, my foundation is my iPad Pro. Yeah, technology. Husband's pension. 5 cats. Yes. Facebook community, house, and pool. Those are all wonderful foundations. So yeah, so whenever you're having a tough time, you've got these things that are supporting you. You've got these things that are helping you live a happier, easier life. So think about that. Everyone has some kind of foundation. Okay, moving on to step 3, which is add good habits and routines. And this is where people normally jump to. They start a New Year's resolution and they're like, oh, I want to add a new habit, and they jump right here without acknowledging their foundation and without cleaning up and deleting the bad influences. It's kind of like taking a canvas. If I have several clients who are artists. So if you have a canvas and you want to paint a picture, you know you have to clean that canvas first. You have to get all the grime and dust and particles off the canvas before you start painting it. You can't paint on a dirty canvas. So the people who jump to adding good habits are painting on a dirty canvas, basically. You got to clean up and delete the stuff that's holding you back before you add the good stuff that's missing. So for adding good habits, I want you to think of 3 habits and write them down, 3 habits that you want to create. And it could be any kind of good habit. And I want you to think about good habits that mean something to you. So don't write down a good habit just because you think society wants you to do that or you think you should do that. So what are good habits? Like reading more, that would be a good habit. Or I don't know, applying to new jobs every single day, make that a habit. Meditating daily. I'm a Buddhist, so that's something I do every day. Maybe sending thank you notes to the people in your life. Maybe it's having a Zoom call every week with your sister, whatever. So think about what's a good habit that would add value to your life that you want to create. So write down 3 good habits that you want to add. Okay, we're almost done with the life editing process. Step 4 is to rearrange everything. And what this means in terms of book editing is sometimes we'd have to move around the paragraphs or move around the ideas so that would make sense and it would flow naturally. So for life editing, sometimes moving around things in your schedule can make everything else flow more easily. So maybe you used to exercise at night, but if you move it to the morning, it would work out better with your energy levels. Or maybe you used to go to the grocery store whenever you ran out of something, so you'd end up going to the grocery store 3 or 4 times a week. But instead, you can pick one day to go to the grocery store and actually keep a list so that you do all of your grocery shopping on one day. Or, I don't know, maybe you used to let your kids sign up for anything that they wanted to do. So they would have like soccer and book club and gymnastics and whatever on every single different day. Maybe you could rearrange things and say, okay, you can do your activities, but only on these certain days. So I want you to list 3 things that you can rearrange in your life. So write those down, whether it's moving something to a different day, a different time. Maybe that's trying a different kind of schedule, which you're going to talk about in a minute. Different kind of scheduling ways. Maybe instead of like doing a pacing schedule, you do a batch schedule. Yeah, so it's all about just moving around the parts so that everything flows. Ooh, Sarah says, limit email time. That is a really, really good thing to think about. So I think email can get really, really overwhelming. I try to get to inbox 0 almost every single day. And a lot of that is because I have designated email times where I'm only focused on email and I plow through my emails. So usually it's around 10 and 4. I open my email and I just get through every single email. I take action on every single email. And sometimes it's to delete it. Sometimes it's to send a quick reply. Sometimes it's to take that thing and add it to my planner. Whatever it is, I take action on it so that I get through all of my emails. I think we talked about this earlier in the call, that unsubscribing to a lot of lists that we just kind of end up on, that can really help you get through your emails faster. If you're a business owner and you end up sending the same type of email over and over and over again, I would suggest making templates of kind of like generic responses that you can just copy and paste whenever you get that email asking about that specific thing. I get emails weekly about how do I download the worksheets? So I have a template where I copy and paste, here's how you download the worksheets. And it's funny, but I send the same things all the time. Or I get questions about like, how do I sign up for a call? And I have to keep sending links. If you have a virtual assistant or regular assistant or someone who helps you with your emails, they can come up with those templates for you and then they can respond to those emails. All right, last part of the life editing process is step 5, make white space. And white space in publishing literally means the white space on a printed page where there's no text and there's no images. So in your life, white space is where you can rest and breathe and recharge and not be bombarded by things. So this is self-care, basically. So I want you to write down 3 self-care activities that you want to try, 3 ways that you can experience white space. So it might be different for everyone, but what types of things give you energy? What types of things fill your cup, as they say? So when you're coming up with self-care ideas, I've talked about this before, about the difference between self-care and self-comfort. So self-care things give you energy. You feel more light and full. It replenishes you when you do those things. Self-comfort, on the other hand, comforts you in the moment. It numbs you out so you don't have to deal with the world. So an example of self-care might be journaling, maybe even going through this video and answering these prompts. It might be reading. It might be taking a bubble bath or going for a walk or having a meaningful conversation. The self-care gives you energy, but that doesn't mean it's always easy. So maybe you do need to have an overdue conversation with somebody. And maybe it's going to be a little bit of a difficult conversation, but at the end, you'll have more energy. Or maybe exercising, so doing some kind of workout class or whatever. That might be tough in the moment, but at the end, it gives you energy. It lifts you up. That's self-care. Self-comfort numbs you out and just comforts you in the moment, but it doesn't actually give you energy. So self-comfort might be sitting on the couch and watching 6 hours of Netflix. No, I get it. Sometimes we do need to sit on the couch and watch Netflix, but overdoing it where you're just kind of numbing yourself with goodies rather than actually facing the world and giving yourself something that you really need. It could also be just eating junk food because you don't want to take the time to make proper meals. Or it could be like avoiding talking to someone and just kind of like zoning out in your own little world. That's self-comfort. So for making white space, I want you to write down 3 ways that you can engage in self-care activities. So any activities that are good to you and they fill you up and they give you more energy. Think about those kinds of activities. Caroline says 3 self-care activities: daily walk, meditate, and journaling. Perfect. I love all of those. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, walking around my neighborhood is still something that I can do. I might not be able to host a big retreat, but I can still walk around my neighborhood. Okay, so if you haven't already downloaded this worksheet, the LEAP worksheet from the Edit My Life Planner mini course, download it, and I want you to go through the life editing process because this will help you come up with lots of ideas for what your goals could be. So as you are writing down things about your foundation, things to delete, habits to add, rearranging your time, and self-care white space, you probably notice some patterns. You probably notice like, oh, I have a lot of things that deal with my health, or I have a lot of ideas that deal with my business, or I have a lot of things that involve my family. And that can help you figure out what your priorities should be, which is our next step. We're getting so close to actually goal planning. We're getting so close. I promise we're going to get there. Okay, before we can start choosing your goals, we need to know what our priorities are. So looking at your notes from the Say Goodbye to 2020 section and looking at your notes from doing the life editing process, I want you to think about what are the most important priorities for the next 12 weeks. So you probably have lots and lots of different areas of your life. And you can do it all, but not all at once. And that's okay. It's okay to say these things take precedence in my life right now, and these things will take precedence later. It's okay to say I'm going to do something a little bit later. So maybe your priorities are your health, your business, and your finances. Or maybe your priorities are your family, your spirituality, and school. I don't know, whatever is most important to you. I want you to write down or even like circle, if you've made your list, what are your priorities? What are like those 3 categories that your goals might fall into? And it's really, really important that you only choose 3. I know you probably have 10 different areas of your life. And that doesn't mean that the other areas of your life are going to be neglected. You're going to do what you need to do, but most of your focus, 90% of your focus, is going to be on just those 3 priorities. And other things can wait. So maybe your business needs a lot of your attention right now as you get it going in the new year. And something else like, I don't know, hanging out with your friends is going to have to wait or be lessened until you can get your business rolling. Or maybe you need a lot of family time right now, and that's the priority. So for work, you're not going to be able to do overtime. You're not going to be able to come in on the weekends or take extra projects, and that's okay. Everything will get done, but I want you to focus on 3 main priorities for the next 12 weeks. All right. Does anyone want to share your 3 priorities? You can leave a comment below and let me know for the next 12 weeks, or 90 days, however you want to think about that, January, February, or March, what are your main 3 priorities? What's going to get the best of you? What's going to get the most of your attention for the next 3 months? Celeste says self-care, skincare routine again, sounds good. Playing with makeup if I have energy, and reading for personal growth. Absolutely. How many of you get stuck reading just for your career or reading just for your business? Like, maybe that's exciting to you. I know I do like reading a lot of business books, but sometimes it's nice just to read a book that's for your own well-being, for your own personal growth. I remember in high school, like, a lot of kids would not read just for themselves. They would only read if it was assigned in school. So think about that. Is there anything that you can do that's just for you, but not because other people are making you do it? All right. So once you got your priorities, I want to talk about your time. So as we create our 12-week plan, oh, Caroline says, my 3 priorities: health, finances, career. Perfect. That doesn't mean everything else is going to become a dumpster fire, but those things are going to get 90% of your energy and focus. Perfect. Okay. Let's talk about time, because I know a lot of you are doing this right now, where you're saying, okay, I've got 12 weeks, I've got 90 days in front of me to do whatever I want, to reach these goals, to focus on these priorities. Do you really have 12 weeks? Do you really have 90 days? Because I bet you don't. Here's the thing. We don't have as much time as a lot of people think we do. Like, you think, oh, I've got 90 days. But I bet there's a lot of days that you're going to be taking off. Like for me, I don't work on the weekends. I don't take client calls on the weekends either. So those are not days when I'm working on my business goals. So maybe you take specific days off a week, or maybe you know you have a vacation coming up, or maybe you have birthdays coming up, or maybe you know your kid's got this thing that's going to take all day, or maybe you have some kind of health issue where you lose a few days a week or a few days a month. I have many clients who lose time due to health issues. One of my clients has migraines, so she loses 2 to 3 days every month for migraines. I have clients who have depression, and they lose up to a week every single month because of the depression days. So think about that. Do you know, like, every month, oh, my kids are going to have at least 2 emergencies every month that are going to take all day. I just know it's going to happen. So you don't have as many days as you think. So in the Edit My Life Planner mini course, you've got your time budget calendar. So it's okay if you didn't print these out. You can go to the planner. Here it is again. You can download the planner in the mini course, and you can download all of these worksheets there. So in there is your time budget calendar. So I want you to figure out how many days you actually have. And it's going to be shocking. It's always shocking when I do that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have as many days. So what you're going to do is take a pen and cross off any days that you are not working. So for me, I'm crossing off those weekends. Can you see that? I crossed them all off because I'm not working. I'm not working on the weekends. I'm watching Netflix. And then think about, what other days do you have off? Like maybe your kid has something, or maybe you're on vacation, or you had something else planned, or it's a holiday. Cross those days off too. And you're going to do this not just for 1 month, but for your 3 months of your 12-week plan. And then think about your health or your kids' emergencies or things that would come up. So let's say you're thinking you're going to lose 2 days a month because of migraines, or 2 days a month because your kids get sick, or whatever. Now you can't say, oh, I know, I'm going to have a migraine on the 10th. No, it would be nice. Wouldn't it be nice if we could plan that? But no, you don't know when you're going to be sick or when your kids are going to have an emergency. So block those days off at the end of the month. So there, I just blocked off 3 days at the end of the month because you don't know when they're going to happen. So if you end up using these days, that's great. Then you're still on schedule. But if you don't, it becomes your buffer. It becomes your margin. It becomes that wiggle room so that you can get things done faster and you can get ahead of yourself on your goals. All right, Celeste says 3 priorities: routine, family, finances. Yep, sounds good to me. All right, so once you go through your time budget calendar, you're going to see you don't have 90 days. Maybe you only have 40 days or 30 days. Like, it's going to be shocking for some of you. So when you're choosing your goals and your projects that make up those goals, you might have a project that takes 20 days, and that's going to take a huge chunk of your time. You might have a project that takes 60 days, but you only have 40 days to work with. So you're going to have to think about, can I make that project smaller? Can I do a smaller version of that where done is better than perfect? Or can I only do part of it this time and leave the rest of it for another 12-week plan? Or I thought I was going to get through 3 goals this month, but 3 goals in this 12 weeks, but I can only focus on 1 goal. So that's why we do a time budget, to get real about your time. Because I'm not working on the weekends. I'm sure you're not working on holidays. And we got to account for those emergency days with your health or with your kids or with whatever. Like, I don't know, the furnace blows up or something. It happens. So you got to account for those things to give yourself that buffer space. Okay, so once you do that and you have a realistic view of how many days in the 12 weeks that you actually have to work, you're not working 24 hours on those days. I know I'm not. Are you writing a report at 3 in the morning? Because I'm not writing a report at 3 in the morning. I'm not taking client calls like in the middle of the night, and neither are you. So also in the Edit My Life Planner, you can download your weekly schedule, and this is just a blank schedule where you can write down the actual hours that you are working each day. So maybe you have a day job. Maybe you have to be there for your kids while they're doing school. Maybe you're in school. Maybe you have client calls all day long. Or maybe one day is where you're away from the office and you have to do field work, whatever it is. Write down the times where you're busy and you can't do your goal work, whatever your goal work is, whether it's your health, your finances, your career, your business, whatever. So you might see that maybe you only have an hour a day to work on your goals, or maybe you only have 4 hours a week and it's on one day. Like, you can only do your goals work on Thursdays. So leave a comment and let me know, have you ever done a time budget for yourself? We go into more depth with this in the Edit My Life Planner video series, so please check that out too. So when you have your time budget, you know how many days out of the 90 days you actually have to work, and then you know how many hours per day you can actually work on your goals. That makes it a lot easier to choose your goals and to choose the projects that make up those goals. So you don't, like, I know too many people who choose like 10 goals or 50 projects and like, I'm gonna get this done in 12 weeks. I got plenty of time. But then they run out of time and they're like, what's happening? I thought I had 90 days. You don't have 90 days. You have a lot less time than you think. Okay. So when you have your final count for your days and your hours, then we've got to talk about your parking lot. And those of you who are my clients, you know what we're talking about with the parking lot. So we have great big dreams. We have a lot of things that we want to achieve, but we can't always do them all at once. You can do it all, but not all at once. So anything that you can't do immediately or anything that's got to wait for another 12-week plan, we put it in your parking lot. And that's a way for us to capture the ideas, but we're not driving them right now. So I give you this great example in the Edit My Life Planner mini course, where I say, we're going to Disney World, which is one of my favorite places in the whole world. So if we're going to Disney World, we are driving up to the Magic Kingdom and we are parking in the parking lot and we are looking at the car and we have to figure out, okay, we're going to go into the theme park. What do we need to bring from the car with us? So we're going to bring our sunglasses, we're going to bring our money, and we're going to bring our Mickey Mouse ears. Yeah, that all belongs in the theme park. We're going to go into the theme park with those things. But when we're done with the theme park, we're going to drive and we're going to go to the beach later. So in the car is our beach stuff. We've got our suntan lotion. We've got those plastic buckets. I got my bottle of shark repellent. We got all of our beach stuff. But I'm not taking all those beach stuff, like the towels and the flip-flops and all of that, and carrying it into the theme park because we don't need it in Walt Disney World. We need it at the beach. So we're going to leave it in the car and we're going to leave it in the parking lot. We're going to go to Disney World, have fun there all day, and then we're going to come back to the car in the parking lot and then drive to the beach and use the beach things. So let's say you have some great plan, like you want to write a book, but when you look at your time budget, maybe you've only got 30 days out of the 90 days of the 12 weeks where you can actually do your work. And that's not enough time to finish and publish your book. I don't know, some of you are really fast writers, but for some of you, it's going to take a lot longer than that. So maybe you need to readjust your plans and think about you're only going to do your 0 draft during this 12 weeks. You're not going to also edit it and get a book cover done and upload it to Amazon and do your marketing launch and all of that. That's going to have to wait for another 12 weeks. Or maybe you have some big goal where you want to, I don't know, remodel your whole kitchen. Like that's a huge thing. And maybe once you talk to the contractors or if you're doing it yourself and all the supplies, and when you have time to actually do the work in your kitchen, you're not going to be able to finish it in this 12 weeks. So you have to adjust. Maybe I can do the kitchen in the next 12 weeks. Maybe something else is more important now. So be really, really honest with yourself about how much time that you have. Because when you're honest with yourself about your time, you'll actually reach your goals and complete those projects and feel good rather than having a million things that you can't finish and feel crummy about yourself at the end of the 12 weeks. So use your parking lot. There is a parking lot sheet in the Edit My Life planner that you can download and write it, but even like a notes app or some kind of like running list, or I love Trello. It's one of my favorites, favorite project management apps. Whatever you use, I want you to capture those ideas, capture those projects, capture those things that you're thinking about, those bright, shiny objects, put them in your parking lot, but we're not going to drive them yet. We'll come back to them. All right. Can you believe it? We are finally at the goal setting point of the call. Woohoo! We have made it to goal planning in our planning pajama party. Thank you so much for sticking with me here all night. I know some of you have been here from the beginning, so thank you. Thank you for doing that. If you're watching the replay, you can put this on double time speed and get here faster. All right, so now we're going to talk about goal planning. So looking at your saying goodbye to 2020, all of those things that you want to get rid of, all of those things you want more of, your successes and challenges, looking at your life editing process, all those things you want to delete, add, rearrange, all of those good things. And then looking at your time budget and seeing how much time you actually have and which priorities are important for the next 12 weeks. Now we can choose your goals. So when you're coming up with your goals, a lot of times, like we said before, my clients will pick a project as their goal, but it's not really a goal. Like writing a book is a project, but the big goal is maybe establishing an author platform where I can earn $10,000 a month, like whatever that is. So one way to get really clear about your goals so that they have meaning and intention behind them is rewriting them as SMART goals. And I know a lot of you have done this before. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time limited. That's what a SMART goal is. So as you're writing out your goals for these next 12 weeks, make sure they're SMART goals. So it should be specific. It shouldn't just be some kind of like vague thing like, I want to lose weight. What does that mean? If you get a haircut, does that count? Does that count as losing weight? I don't know. On a side note, it has been more than a year since I've gotten a haircut. I got a haircut early December 2019, and I'm in Los Angeles, and you know, California is in strict lockdown. So I haven't gotten a haircut because all of the salons are closed and it's not safe to go out anyway. So I haven't gotten a haircut in more than a year, and my hair is like super, super long. So yeah, so I would love to get a haircut and lose some weight that way. So we want specific goals that are really, really crystal clear. Next, you want measurable goals. And to have a measurable goal means that we can say yes or no to the question, did you reach that goal? So if your goal is, I want to save money, does a penny count? Does $5 count? Does $100 count? Like, what is the measurable thing? If you could say, I want to save, whatever, $25 a week, that's measurable. That's something that you can look at and say yes or no, did you reach it? So if it could be, I want 100 more followers on Instagram or whatever, you can actually look at that and say yes or no, did you reach that measurement? So whatever your goal is, it should be measurable. Next, we just talked about this earlier, that your goals should be actionable. And that means actionable by you. If your goal requires somebody else to take action, or somebody else to do something, like your boss to do something, your boss to give you a raise, or your mother-in-law to, I don't know, suddenly become a nice person, or whatever it is, that's not a SMART goal. We can't rely on other people doing what we want them to do. So your goal must be actionable by you. There must be something that you can do to reach that goal. Next is realistic. I love you, life editors. I love you so much. But sometimes we have to be realistic with our goals. So let's say your goal is to earn $1 million this year through your business. Is that realistic? I don't know. If you earned $900,000 last year, maybe it is realistic. But for many people, that's not realistic. Or if you want to, let's go back to the marathon example. You want to run a marathon, but you have bad knees and you've never run more than 10 seconds in your whole life. Is that realistic? I don't know. Maybe not in 12 weeks. Maybe you need a bit more conditioning than that. So I want you to choose a goal that's realistic. It can still be a stretch. It can still push you out of your comfort zone, but I want you to have a win. I want this to be something possible for you. I think we get stuck on goals that are way outside of our capabilities or rely on other people doing things. And then it's not realistic. And then we feel bad about ourselves when we don't reach that. I want you to feel good that you can accomplish big things. And by making a realistic goal, that makes that possible. Okay, last part of SMART goals is time limited. Now, we already have a limit on your time because we're making a 12-week plan, but you also have other time limits that we just did when we came up with your time budget. So whatever your goals and whatever your projects are, you're gonna have to put some time limit on it. Like, do you want this thing done in the first month and then you're gonna work on something else the second month? Do you want something done by your birthday? Do you want something done, I don't know, before a certain milestone or a certain holiday or a certain benchmark? So think about where can you put a time limit on your goals. I think having time limits keeps that sense of urgency and makes it more important so we actually work on it. That's why annual goals don't seem to work, because if your goal is to get it done sometime in the next 12 months, you'll take the full 12 months to get it done. All right. So specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time limited. One more thing about goals is you can have different kinds of goals. And I want you to think about which goals make the most sense for whatever it is you're trying to achieve. So an outcome goal, you've probably heard this before, an outcome goal is a goal that it's a one and done, like bam, you hit it and you're done. You reach that outcome. So you ran the marathon, you published the book. Like, you don't continue to run the marathon, you ran it, it's done. You don't continue to publish the book over and over again, it's done, you published it. So maybe you have some kind of outcome goal that, bam, you do it and you're done. You move to the new house, whatever it is, you did it. That's an outcome goal. A process goal is where you create some kind of routine or habit that you want to continually do. So maybe a process goal is to publish one video per week forever for your business. Or maybe it's to meditate for 10 minutes every morning forever. It's a process. The goal is to form a habit that you do indefinitely. That's a process goal. And the last type of goal I want to talk about is ambiguous goals. And I know some of you are going to have these goals that are just kind of nebulous, like I want to feel happier, or I want to feel less anxious, or I just want to be more confident. Well, what are you supposed to do with that? It's vague. And if you have a goal like that, like I want to feel less anxious in 2021, the way you can take that ambiguous goal and make it a SMART goal is to get really specific and figure out how can we measure that. So let's say you want to feel less anxious, whatever it is. Every day you can put some kind of measurement on that goal. So maybe you rate yourself from 1 to 10 every day based on how anxious you are. So 1 is you're so anxious, you're gonna stay under the covers all day long. And 10 is you're feeling amazing, you're super energized and you're out in the world. So rate yourself from 1 to 10 every single day based on your anxiety. And then at the end of every month or at the end of the 12 weeks, you can total up your daily score, come up with the average and say, my goal is to be at an average of 8 or higher for 90% of the days. Something like that. So can you see how, like, if you have a goal like that, to put some kind of measurement to it? Or like, I want to feel happier. Again, you can use a 1 to 10 scale and rate your happiness per day. I think there's a lot of planners where they actually give you like a little circle that you can fill in with like what your mood is. I know I've seen those mood stickers. They come in like 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, and you can actually like rate your mood. So if you have an ambiguous goal that has something to do with feelings or confidence or like ways of being, can you put some kind of measurement to it? And then you can come up with an average of how you want to feel most of the time. Or let's say like you want to publish more on your blog. Like, okay, well, what does that mean? Maybe you want to publish 10% more this 12 weeks than you did last 12 weeks. So last 12 weeks, you published whatever, 10 blogs, and you want to publish 11 blogs this 12 weeks. So you can put some kind of measurement to it. Leave a comment and let me know if you have a trick for taking an ambiguous goal and making it specific or adding some kind of measurement to it. Or let me know if you've used the 1 to 10 trick before and then coming up with an average or coming up with a percentage that you felt that way. That's like a really good way to take something like you don't want to like throw away that goal because like it's important. Like of course, being happier is a good goal. Of course, being less anxious is a good goal, but you got to have some way to measure it so you know if what you're doing is actually working. Okay, so we've got your SMART goals. Leave a comment and let me know if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to share your SMART goals, I know some of you might need to think about them and like rewrite them a few times until you get them just right. But if you want to leave a comment with whatever your goals are, I would love to see them. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and leave your goals too. Okay. So when you're thinking about your goals are not your projects. Like we said, like publishing a blog post is a project, writing a book is a project. Your goals should have some kind of intention behind them. I like to ask my clients, why are you doing this thing? Like, why are you redoing your website? Why are you publishing a book? Why are you redoing your logo? Like, why are you, I don't know, exercising? What's the reason behind it? And that will help inform your goals. You want to have a reason why you're doing it, or else you'll give it up. Like, if you're updating your website and you have no idea what it's leading to, you're going to get bored with it and stop. So how does your goal relate to your intention and relate to your priorities? So if your priorities is spend more time with your family, does your goal support spending more time with your family? So if your goal has something about spending whatever, 30 minutes every single day with each of your kids. something like that, and keeping track of it. Or maybe your goal is something about planning a family movie night every single week and sticking to that for 12 weeks. So does your goal relate to your priorities? Okay, once you got your goals, we're going to make your project plans. So like we said when we were talking about pyramid planning, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the Edit My Life Planner. In the mini course, we go into more depth about pyramid planning, where your goals are on top of your projects, which are on top of your tasks. And all of your tasks are leading to your projects, and all your projects are leading to your goals. Every single thing that you do has a purpose behind it. You're not just doing admin tasks or mundane things or busy work just to do it. Everything leads to your goals directly. Okay, so for coming up with your project plans, I'd like to write like your SMART goal at the top of a sheet of paper, and then write down all of the projects that could possibly lead to that goal. And there's a lot. So let's say you have a goal of earning whatever, $10,000 a month for your business. There's a lot of ways that you could earn $10,000 a month for your business. Maybe it's putting out a digital course. Maybe it's doing one-on-one coaching. Maybe it's hosting some kind of retreat that you pay for tickets. Or maybe it's coming up with some kind of merchandising or whatever. There are lots and lots of ways. Maybe do speaking events. There are so many different ways that you could earn that money and reach that goal. So write down all of the projects that could potentially lead to that goal. Just the same thing, like if you're trying to lose weight, there are so many different things that you could do. Maybe it's meal planning, meal prepping. Maybe it's hiring some kind of nutrition coach. Maybe it's joining a gym. Maybe it's making a home gym. Like there's so many different ways you can reach that goal. So write down all of the possible projects that could lead to that outcome, that could lead to that goal. You're not going to do all of them, but I want you just to get your ideas flowing and write down all of the things that you could potentially do. Then for each of those projects, I want you to think about which ones, there's two things to think about, which ones are engaging and exciting that you actually want to do. And then two, which ones really fit into your time budget. I'm going to keep bringing this up because I have too many people who don't do this step, and then they wonder, like, why did I run out of time? Because you didn't do your time budget. So watch that part again, or go into the Edit My Life Planner mini course and watch that segment again. Okay, so let's see what people have. Caroline says, for the health goal, I want to reduce sugar to only having dessert 2 times a week. Dark chocolate, oh my gosh, dark chocolate is my absolute favorite. My why is to feel more energetic, to have more energy to work on my future online business. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so Caroline, have you started this business? Are you starting it in the next 12 weeks? Or is it for the next 12 weeks? I would love to hear more about your online business. It's so exciting. So yeah, this is specific. You're saying dessert 2 times a week, not just less dessert. You're putting a number to it. It's very specific. You're going to be able to say yes or no. Was it 2 times a week? Was it 3 times a week? You can actually look at that. And why you're doing it? To have energy so you can do future projects. Yes, yes. This is why we do life editing. We want to clear out the things and delete the things that are draining your energy. And we want to add those things that are filling your cup so you can do more of your good work. Oh, I love this. This is perfect, Caroline. Nikki says, my goal is to open a preschool pre-K in my house. Oh my gosh, that's a huge goal. The projects that lead to that are overwhelming. Yes. Yes, they are. I'm certain they are. But the good news is you are not the first person to do this. There are going to be resources. You probably already have stacks of books, stacks of articles to read, tons of websites and resources. That's a good thing. You're not the first person to do this. So there's going to be resources. There's going to be people out there who are going to say, make sure you do this thing, don't do this thing. Or like, do this, don't make my mistakes. So there's going to be people who come before you who have done this before. Thank goodness. Like when I was starting my coaching business, thank goodness there were thousands and thousands of other people who had started coaching businesses. So I didn't have to like make all of their mistakes. I still made plenty of mistakes, but I was able to learn from them and it saved me a lot of time. So yeah, for setting up your preschool pre-K in your house, you'll have to think about what's your timeline. Is it setting it up in the next 12 weeks? If that's the case, then you might think about what things are most important. So I'm guessing setting up the school is a high priority. That might mean some other things might not be as high priority. Like maybe you're not hanging out with your friends as much, or maybe you're not going so gung-ho on your health because this needs to be the priority. And that's okay. It's a season of your life. You're not going to be setting up the school every 12 weeks for the rest of your life. There's going to come a point where the school is set up. So allow yourself to have a season of life where you're focusing mostly on this. So if you're setting up the school in the next 12 weeks, you'll need to think about what are the must-haves that 100% must be done so that you can set up a school. I'm sure there's certain guidelines or regulations depending on where you're living or what you're teaching or whatever. So getting those in place, and maybe some other things are not as important. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe you're not going to have the most magical decorations or the most expensive markers and whiteboards. Like you're going to have stuff that's good enough, but maybe you don't need all the bells and whistles if the goal is to set it up. One thing I like to tell my life editors is done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. And I have to tell myself that like on a daily basis. A lot of times getting the thing completed or putting it out to the world is better than having it just right. Because we're editors, there's always going to be something to edit. There's always going to be something to change. So think about that. What absolutely needs to get done and what can maybe wait till the next 12 weeks. Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing, Nikki. Caroline says, I already have a blog. Online business will likely be later in the year, in 3 or 6 months. That's so exciting. Caroline, if you haven't checked out Startup in 60, I know I'm like plugging all of my stuff because I can. Startup in 60, there's a link on my website, sagegrayson.com. And I know several other people, actually many other people who are on the call tonight have taken Startup in 60. And I just revamped and re-put out the new program a couple months ago. And it's my business course that takes you from idea to fully functioning business in 60 days. But it does so whether you have 60 minutes or 60 seconds per day to work on your business. You heard that right. So even if you only have 60 seconds per day to work on your business and you have nothing else set up, you have no website, you have like no clients, you have no products and services, you can still set up your business in 60 days using or working only 1 minute per day. Every time I say that to people, they're like, what are you talking about? That's not true. It is true. It's amazing. You can ask some of the people on the call tonight who've taken Startup in 60. The whole point of the program is to get you setting up your business quickly. So it's definitely embodying the phrase, done is better than perfect. You're not going to have the most flashy logo or whatever, but you are going to have a fully functioning business and have products and services out there for your ideal clients. So check out Startup in 60 if you haven't tried it already. All right, Celeste says, goals, create routine, reconnect with a loved one, finances. I love that, I love it. It's really streamlined and it's focused. Other things are gonna have to wait for another 12 weeks, but 90% of your focus on these 3 goals. I love it. Oh, Celeste, you're so nice. Startup in 60 is amazing. I love Startup in 60. And I know only about half of my clients and followers actually have businesses or want to start up businesses. I'm a life coach, first and foremost. So I do self-development, productivity stuff, first and foremost. But since half my clients do have businesses, it was really important for me to put out a business course that is secretly a time management course. So yes, you're going to start up a business, but you're going to do it in the quickest way possible while still crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's. Like everything's going to be set up for you, but quickly. And that was because I had too many clients who were telling me, I want to start a business, but I don't have the time. And I was sick of it. I was sick of people saying, you don't have the time to start up a business. So I made a program to prove that anyone can start a business. Because you only need 1 minute per day to start your business. So you can go through the entire program doing 1 minute of homework per day. And maybe this is a little crass, but I say, if you have time to pee, you have time to start a business. No excuses. So Startup in 60 is all about making your business, no excuses. Launch and tweak later. Yes, that's 100% it. Like, you don't need to have it perfect right now. This is why we make 12-week plans. You're going to make a 12-week plan and then never touch it again. Okay. Oh, thank you guys for staying with me. I know we've been on for 2 hours. I promise we're going to wrap this up in a little bit. Okay. So we've got our goals. If you've written your SMART goal at the top of each sheet, you've written all of your little projects that could potentially lead to that goal. So then I want you to choose the projects that, one, are most exciting to you, or most interesting, or two, have the greatest possibility of leading to that result. So be really, really really honest with yourself about which things actually lead to your result and which ones fit into your time budget. Everything else goes in your parking lot. I would say 90% of what you write down is going to go in your parking lot, and that's okay. Okay, last part. Once you've narrowed down your projects and your projects actually lead to your goals, we're not doing projects just because. We're not writing a book just because. We're not fixing a website just because. It's got to lead somewhere. You're going to come up with your task list for each project. So sometimes this is easier to do in a digital project management app rather than writing everything out by hand. But I know plenty of people who do write their task lists by hand. So again, at the top of a page, maybe write your project and then write all the little tasks that lead to you completing that project. And it might help to write your tasks in chronological order. Like if it makes sense to do this task first, followed by this task, or this task needs to be done by X date, like put them in chronological order. So when you're coming up with your tasks, this kind of like freaks people out sometimes, but when I come up with my tasks, I like to write tasks that are 5 to 10 minutes long. Like I can complete this task in maybe about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. If it's any larger than that, it's too big. So your task might be to send an email, or to call your accountant, or to pack your lunch for the next day, whatever it is. Your tasks are teeny tiny. And the reason we make your tasks under 10 minutes long is so that there's no inertia. There's nothing that's stopping you from doing it. There's nothing that's holding you back. There's nothing that's saying like, oh, that's too bad, that's too big, that's going to take me too long. It's the same reason with the Startup in 60 program that we make your homework 60 seconds long, because we want you moving forward. So if your task is too big, you're going to procrastinate, or you're going to be like, oh, I need more time, I can't do that. So here's an example. I publish blog posts on my blog, and for each blog post, that's a project. So I can't put on my to-do list, publish blog post, because that's not one step. Your project is made up of many steps, many tasks. So for me, I have a recurring blog post like card in Trello that I just copy every time I need to do a blog post. And I have 74 tasks to complete one blog post. And that's starting with coming up with the idea for the blog post. And the final step is like pinning the image on Pinterest after it's been published and shared everywhere. So I have 74 tiny steps. You do not need to get that granular, but that helps me. So whenever I'm working on something, I know the next step is only going to take me a few minutes, maybe less than a minute. So I'm always moving forward. I don't have anything like holding me up or saying like that's too big. So for your projects, get as granular as you can with your tasks. I promise you it's going to help you be more productive because it's not going to be too big. I've told this story before. I had a client who wrote, write my novel on her to-do list. And I'm like, write your novel is not one step. There's so many different steps underneath that. So really take the time to write down all of your tasks. So once you have your tasks for all of your projects, the last part is to take your tasks and plug them into your 12-week planner. So you can use the Edit My Life Planner. Let me put that up here. So The End of My Life Planner is 12 weeks long, so it's built into it. And then for each week, let me pull this up. So this is the daily schedule. Okay, in the daily one and in the weekly one, you're going to have this dashboard page. Can you see this? Focus. So at the top is where you can write in whatever step of the life editing process you're working on and what you're doing that week. And then underneath here, these blank little checkboxes, these are for your projects. You can use them in lots of different ways, but I like to use them for my projects. So you can write whatever project you're working on here, like blog post, and then write your tasks underneath it. Or you can use like a project management system like Trello, or you could use this as like your goals. If you have like your 3 goals and then the projects that lead to those goals that you're going to do this week. And then there is a weekly dashboard in the daily one too, just so you have like a quick weekly layout, and you can plug those projects in by day. And then on the daily pages, then you can write down exactly when in your schedule you're going to do those things. Like if you have school or a day job, like, or other things going on, you got to figure out when you can actually work on your goal work. And I've got a spot here for your main priorities as well, too. So take your tasks and plug them into the days that you're going to get them done. So if you need to, go back to the blog thing, if you need to do an outline for your blog post on Monday, write that in on Monday. You need to write the rest of the blog post on Tuesday, write that in. And then Wednesday, if you're going to upload it to WordPress, put that on Wednesday. And if Thursday you're coming up with like the image or linking it up and whatever, like put those on the specific days that you're going to do it. This is 100% what we do in Startup in 60. Like every single day you have a very, very, very specific task to do. And that helps you focus more. So you're not winging it and you don't have these tasks or projects that are floating out there whenever. Like, oh, sometime this week I'm going to set up my checking account, or sometime this week I'm going to make a workout plan, or sometime this week I'm going to do whatever. Like we really want to plug it into specific days, because if you have something that could get done at any time, it'll end up getting done at no time. So put it on a specific day. Put your tasks on specific days. All right. So let's go over this real quick. Recapping our goal setting process. You said goodbye to 2020 and figured out what you want more of and what you want less of. We went through the life editing process quickly, and you came up with 3 things to do for each of the 5 steps. If you need more help with that, go into the End of My Life Planner, watch the life editing process video again. Then we looked at your priorities, and you chose 3 priorities for the next 12 weeks. Other things are going to have to wait, or other things are going to have to like be at a lower level. Put 90% of your energy into those 3 priorities. Then you mapped out your time budget to figure out exactly how many days you really have in 12 weeks and how many hours you can work each day. We talked about your parking lot and giving yourself permission to put things in the parking lot, leave it there parked, and you can come back and drive it later. And another 12-week plan. Then we wrote your SMART goals: specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time limited. Then for each SMART goal, we made your project plans. Like we wrote down all the different projects. We circled and chose the specific projects that have the most likelihood of reaching that result and that fit into your time budget and that are fun and engaging. Then for each project, you wrote down all of your tasks, and then you plug those tasks into specific days in your 12-week plan. One last thing I want you to think about as you're coming up with your 12-week plan: make sure your weeks aren't too full. So as you're plugging your projects and stuff in, you're going to see like the days that you have off, and you're going to see like, oh, this needs to get done before my birthday, or this needs to get done before this, or whatever. You might see that, oh, for week 3, I have 10 projects to finish. And for week 4, I have 1 project. It's like, that sounds like a nightmare. So as you're going through your weeks, I want you to spread things out, move them all around, so you don't have any weeks that are too full, because that's just going to make you burn out or get behind schedule. If you've got 10 projects to do in week 3, but you only get through 5 of them, then you're already going to be behind by the time you reach week 4 and you're out of days. So make sure you're spreading things out, spreading them out so that you don't have weeks that are too full. That's really important. Okay. Are we ready for next steps? You guys have been such troopers staying with me here all night. All right, so next steps. If you need to rewatch this planning pajama party, please do so. And I want you to come up with your 2021 goals. Remember, we're not doing the whole year. We're only doing the first 12 weeks. We're going to make a 12-week plan. Keep it small, manageable. Keep it urgent, and so you can get those lasting results. Anything else that you do want to accomplish in 2021, you know where it goes. Put it in your parking lot and come back to it for the next 12 weeks. Then I would love for you to come back to this video and leave a comment and let me know what your intentions are for 2021. What are your big goals? What do you really, really want to achieve? If you want to share any of the struggles that you had in 2020 and how you're going to regroup and come out better than ever in 2021, I want to hear it. So please, please, please leave a comment below and interact with your fellow life editors. Also, when you purchase the Edit My Life Planner, let me pop that up again. There's a comment section under every video, and I know some of you have already been talking in there. You can connect with people in the comment section. You can connect with me. I see every one of your comments coming through. So please reach out to me there, reach out to your other life editors, and start the conversation about what you want to go accomplish in 2021. Here's the thing, we're life editors, and life is always going to throw us curveballs. There's always going to be things that don't go as planned. Like, I think you know, this whole year didn't go as planned for most of us. I think almost all of us this year did not go as planned, and that's okay because we're life editors. We are always editing. We're not going to throw our lives in the trash and be like, oh, this was terrible. I'm not going to deal with that. No, we're going to take what's been given to us and we're going to edit it and we're going to make it the best possible life for us. So you're still going to be you, but you're going to be the best version of you. And you're going to start your next chapter. Like, the blank page is in front of you. It is time for you to feel energized by this fresh start and to really write your life story the way that you want it to be. So thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I'm actually going to stick around for another few minutes, I guess. We've been here for over 2 hours. But if you want to ask any questions, if you have any questions about the planners or the mini course, if anything that we talked about tonight didn't make sense, leave a comment and let me know. I would love to hear what you're working on or anything that you need more clarification on. Thank you so much for your generosity. Happy New Year. Yes, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone. I am so happy that so many of you stuck around for our planning pajama party. This was really fun. My curls are completely gone. I promise you, if you look back at the beginning of this video, I did have curls in my hair and now they're completely gone. They're completely gone. Because I told you it's hot here. It is really hot here. I'm like sweating in like this LA heat. But this is great. This was really great. Thank you so much, Pam. Thanks for being here. So yeah, I would love to hear, what goals do you have for the new year? Are you going to use the rest of this week for planning? Are you using any other kind of planning system? I love so many different planners. I'm a huge fan of Passion Planner. When I come back here, I can leave a comment. I can give you a $5 off Passion Planner link. That's probably other than my planners, I do love Passion Planners because they're very focused and streamlined. They kind of fit my type A personality. Leave a comment and let me know if you have a favorite planning system. Again, I love Trello. For those of you who like digital project plans, Trello is really user-friendly and easy. It's like a Kanban board where you have different lists and then you can move cards from list to list to list. So I have like a calendar, and then I have different different processes like writing, editing, uploading, and I move like my content along the different stages of my content creation process. And Nikki said, I'm in Pennsylvania freezing. Send some warm weather your way. Yes, I'm sending warm vibes to all of you, my LA vibes. Okay, so here's the thing. It's Los Angeles, and it's warm. I saw this great shirt the other day. I'll have to find the link, but maybe you saw it. It says, my favorite thing about winter is living in California. And that is exactly how I feel. My favorite thing about winter is living in California. So I grew up in Chicago. I lived in Chicago for 30 years. And I know all about the blizzards and the polar vortexes. So I'm a February baby. So when I was in elementary school, I would have to wear a snowsuit every day to go to elementary school. And I remember walking to school in my snowsuit and the snow being up to my chest. And I'm like chugging my way to school in the snow. And no, they didn't close the school because like 3 feet of snow in Chicago, yeah, that's nothing. That's nothing. Go to school. Like it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. So when in my 30s, I started moving around a lot. So we lived in San Francisco for 4 years. We lived in Orlando for 5 years. I lived in Nashville for 3 months. We don't speak about that horrible time, but I did live in Nashville for 3 months. And now I'm back in California in Los Angeles, which I love, and I've been here for a year. So Celeste says, I noticed there isn't an end of month or end of quarter reviews. Do you plan to add them to the planner later? Oh, yes. So in, where did I put it? Okay. I'm getting there. Where did I find it? There is a quarterly review. Where did I put it? Okay, here we go. So in the planner, there's a quarterly progress check. And this is right after week 12. So after week 12, there's a quarterly progress check. This is in the Edit My Life Planner video course. So you can check there too, but it's also here in the planner. So the quarterly progress check, you're going to go through your 12 weeks and then you're going to review your progress. So I didn't talk about this during this class because it's like right at the beginning of the planning process, but it's really good to review what worked and what didn't at the end of your 12 weeks. So what's changed? How are you feeling about the different areas of your life? What goals and projects did you accomplish? What do you still want to do? What's no longer important? Because sometimes you're going to go through your goals and you're going to realize, wait, that thing's not important anymore. And that's okay. We're editors. We don't have to stick to things like glue. What are you proud of and what's coming up next? So there is a quarterly progress check, and then you move into week 13. What? I thought this was just a 12-week planner. No, I go through this in the Edit My Life Planner video course too. Your 13th week is your planning week. So you're going to do 12 weeks of work, then plan on your 13th week for the next 12 weeks, then do 12 weeks of work, and then plan during your 13th week. So yes, Celeste, absolutely. Do your quarterly progress check. I know some of you like to do monthly progress checks too, and that is 100% fine too. I didn't put in the monthly ones because I just wanted to stick to like a 12-week focus. But yeah, definitely check to see what's working and what's not before you make your next plan. Yeah. Oh, Celeste was telling me earlier this week about why she switched to digital planners. So can everyone see this? You should be able to see it. So if you want to check out Celeste's blog, you can right there. I'd be interested to know how many of you have switched to digital planners and what you liked about that. Or did any of you switch from digital to paper? Or are you like me where you do a mix of both? So for me, it's really important for me to put pen to paper because you take ownership of your results when you write your goals in your own handwriting. It's like signing a contract or signing your name. It's taking ownership of what you want. So there's something really profound and magical maybe about writing out your goals in your own handwriting. You don't have to write out all your tasks, but if you write out your goals in your own handwriting and maybe put a sticky note up around your workspace, that's really powerful. So I'm a big proponent of writing by hand, but I also know in this day and age, it's not feasible to write everything by hand. I'm not going to write out 74 tasks to do every time I want to publish a blog post. So that's why I use Trello as my digital project management system. Oh, Mr. Winnie slipped some, no worries. I know. So let's just talk about, I used to do printed planners. Oh, thanks. I'm so glad you liked the pajama party. It was wonderful. I'm so glad you were here. So yeah, I used to do printed planners. So these ones you print out yourself, or you send them to like an office store and get them printed. But I used to do really professional, like glossy planners. And unfortunately, my printer, I used to use a US printer, but they moved to Europe. So I could no longer say that my planners were 100% created in the USA. And then I searched and searched and searched for other planners. And yeah, I won't get into all of it. There were really cheap ways I could do professional printed planners, but I didn't like a lot of the practices of how those planner printing companies were set up. So I really wanted to make sure that I felt good on a moral level of printing my planners. So that's why I don't have those printed planners anymore, those like glossy fancy ones. But also it wasn't really cost effective too, like based on how many people would buy the printed planners versus all the work and effort that went into them. And they were expensive. They were like $50 or $60 for like a printed planner, which, I mean, some people are fine with that. But I wanted to make something a little more cost effective for me and more wallet friendly for my life editors too. So that's why we went back to these print them yourself planners, which I'm very grateful that I did this, because this was a year of done is better than perfect. And earlier this year, I did try to find another printer who could do like glossy fancy planners for me. And I wasn't able to find one. So at least I was able to do this printable one, this PDF one, with the mini course for you, which I think was good enough. I think this was a whole year where I had to be okay with me doing good enough. Done is better than perfect. Oh, Celeste says she uses GoodNotes. You write with your iPencil. Yep. So you're still writing by hand, even though it's digital. Very good. Let me know what other planners and planning systems you guys use too. All right. Are we still sticking around? We're still sticking around. Bonus round. Okay. I have bonus homework for you guys to make your vision board. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about vision boards. So leave a comment and let me know if you want me to do like an actual vision board party, because I've seen a few other people who are coaches or like other kinds of self-development people doing their own vision board parties. I'm like, should I do that? Should I do a virtual vision board? Maybe we will. Maybe we will. So a vision board, for those of you who don't know, this is like bonus homework if you want to go above and beyond, is a large poster board covered with pictures of the things that you want to attract. And these could be your goals. It could be ways of being. It could be feelings. And this is, I don't know if you can see this. This is my vision board from 2020. I haven't made my 2021 yet. So maybe that would be something I could like do my vision board with you at the same time as I make my 2021 vision board. So again, this is like a printable one, and you can put like pictures from magazines or print out pictures from Pinterest. You can make digital vision boards, like a Pinterest board that's all of the things that you want to attract. Or you can use some kind of photo editing software and make a collage. I love PicMonkey. It's my favorite. But you can also use like Canva or Photoshop and make a collage of all of the things that you want to attract in the new year. So I would say like your planner is definitely more of like the type A strategic way of getting your goals. The vision board is more of the touchy-feely way of getting what you want. So it's like a visual bucket list. So some of the things that I put on here for 2020, so this is my old vision board that's been hanging up all year. I had my clubhouse, redone my clubhouse. That was really important to me. And I'm so thrilled with how the clubhouse is doing this year. Again, if you want to watch, I think there's more than 35, maybe almost 40 different life and business classes in the Life Editor Clubhouse, plus the class I mentioned before, the end of year review. That's all in the Life Editor Clubhouse. And we do weekly video calls in our Facebook group. So check that out. I also have some video calls about vision boards, but I was really happy with how the Clubhouse grew this year. And just being happy, open for business. A lot of this has to do with business work because that was one of my top priorities this year. Money definitely came up with a bunch of different income sources because I lost my retreat income. So I had to diversify and come up with new income streams, which was really exciting this year. Working with Kajabi, managing my time. Oh, this was also for redoing Startup in 60. That's why I have the clock here. I got a new home, beautiful kitchen. Yeah, just all sorts of things that I attracted this year. So leave a comment and let me know. Do you have a vision board? Do you put it on a big poster? Or do you actually put it in your planner? Or do you do a visual, a digital vision board like in PicMonkey or in Pinterest? I would love to know, do you have any kind of visual way to show off your goals and what you want to attract? Oh, thanks. Thank you so much. Vision board looks great. Yeah, it's fun. I have a lot of magazine subscriptions, so I use magazine clippings. I also print images out from Pinterest. I know some people who are more artistic than me that actually draw their own vision boards. It's pretty amazing. Vision board party sounds fun. Let me tinker around with that. Maybe we can do something. Vision board party. yeah. Let me play around with that and see if I can do some kind of vision board party where everyone can jump on and show their vision boards. Let me get back to you on that. but that is definitely something we can do for the new year. All right. We have been on this planning pajama party for 2.5 hours. I'm going to have to wrap it up now. But I want to thank all of you life editors for being here with me live. Thank you so much for participating, for sharing your goals, for talking about your priorities, and just for being active on this call. It's always more fun when we have people on these calls. And this has been great. If you're watching this replay, please join the conversation. Leave comments, interact with your fellow life editors, interact with me. I would love to hear what your goals are for 2021 and what things are important to you. And if there's any kind of content or something that you would need from me that could help you out in the new year, let me know. You're already telling me you want a vision board party. I hear you. So if there's anything else, I want to see this type of class in the Clubhouse, or I would love a printable about this, let me know. I would love to hear your ideas. That really helps me out. So thank you for being here. You're already in your jammies, so you're already ready to go to sleep. I just want to say this has been so much fun, and I love you all so much. This has been amazing. Oh, thank you. I know. I have a lot of energy, but you got to know it's only 7:30 here. It's not even my bedtime yet. So of course I have lots of energy still. This has been great. Oh, hugs, Celeste. Good night. Thank you. This has been really great. So I will also send out the replay in an email so you guys can all watch this again and have a direct link to it. But I just want to say, all you life editors, I'm so grateful for you. You are my foundation. You are what keep me strong, what keep me stable, holds me up and supports me all year long. Thank you so much for being here. I wouldn't have a successful business without you. I wouldn't be doing what I love without you and sharing life editing with the world. So thank you, life editors, for being here with me. This was wonderful. This was a really magical way to end the year, and I'm so grateful for you. All right. Oh, yes, Celeste, it's a new moon. Yes, it's a new moon in Cancer tonight. So total magic. Thank you so much, Pam. This is great. Okay, I'm out of here. Mwah. Thank you so much, life editors. Virtual hugs to you, and I will see you again real soon. Good night. Happy New Year.